Hey guys, Darth Gloric here, back with part 2 of our Heart of the Woods playthrough. So, last time, we met Tara and her friend Maddie. They are basically paranormal YouTubers, more or less, and Maddie runs a lot of the tech side, while Tara is the face of the show. And their show is called Tara-Normal, which is, you know, funny play on words of paranormal and Tara. There you go. Anywho, so we met them, and they went to this little podunk town in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains, and to investigate some freaky paranormal stuff going down. We also met Morgan, and Morgan is the contact that they have for the little town, and now they are investigating. But Maddie doesn't believe. So at the first, nothing seemed to be happening. There was a theory floating around that Morgan was crazy, and it was possible. However, at the very tail end of the episode, there was some signs of some actual spooky, weird stuff going down. So it is possible that she's actually not crazy. So here's hoping. Anyway, in this episode, we hope to uncover more of these strange happenings going down. Sorry, I realized I just put my hand in front of the microphone. That was intelligent. Anyway, so as far as last episode, the quality seems to have held up, so that's good. Tech side, all is going swimmingly, and so here's hoping that that does continue. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hop right into it, right where we left off. I saved over yonder. Apparently, I played this actually 1 year ago, in case you're wondering. According to my save files, 1 year ago, as of September, was the last time I played it. So apparently, it came out. I guess it came out not that long ago. So I guess it's not as old as I thought. Anyway, but it's still been a year, and I still don't remember a lot of the little details. Okay, so today I don't have a flavored water with me, and so hopefully there will be less drinking breaks. But if my voice gets too dry or too tired, then I will probably go get myself something to drink and to sip upon so that my voice stays nice and moist so that I can read more effectively. Sorry, I'm sure that was uncomfortable. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. So at the very, very end, we left off where they got back to the cabin and they were going to catch some Z's after chasing this weird ghost light. So this is the starting of the next... So this is the starting of the next, at least the next day, but kind of it looks like an elapse of several days. So anyway, we start to fall into a bit of a routine. Every day, Tara and I will get up and explore Eisenfeld or the surrounding area a bit. We never go too far into the forest, but just enough to set up some dramatic camera angles or to film some monologue segments for Tara. Once Morgan's done with work, she'll join us or show us around. Sometimes she brings her cat with her. Surprise, surprise, it still hasn't said a word. She keeps promising it eventually will, though. Ever since the night we saw the light in the trees, we've hoped to encounter something equally mysterious or interesting. No such luck, though. Any sort of hope or excitement that I had, any bit of relief that I'd allowed myself to build up, has been squashed back down to resigned indifference, my trademark, I know. It took about a week of this before Morgan asked us to wait for her at the cabin, saying she was finally ready to show us that thing she mentioned. She still wasn't any more forthcoming with what it was, but over the week we'd known Morgan, I'd gotten a little more comfortable with the idea. If she was going to leave us in a shallow grave or something, she'd had plenty of opportunities to do that already. The heavy clouds overhead promise a darker night than the past few, and probably heavier snowfall. We won't be able to stay out very late. Even with Morgan's guidance, the possibility of getting caught in the snowstorm is hard to ignore. Tara paces back and forth outside as I linger in the doorway, trying to enjoy the warmth from the cabin as long as I can. Finally, a fashionable 15 minutes late, I spot Morgan heading down the trail from the village towards us. Tara zips off to intercept her, and the two of them approach together. Hey, sorry I'm late. Work was a little busy tonight. No worries. Well, that answers one of the myths of Eisenfeld that I was curious about, whether or not anyone ever actually shops at Morgan's store. Tara bounces around between the two of us, raring to get going. Morgan smiles approvingly at her. So, you said you had something special planned for tonight, right? She spent the whole day trying to guess what it was. I think I've narrowed it down. It's either a crashed UFO, the Fountain of Youth, or Elvis. Those are the ones you narrowed it down to? Someday, Mads, it's gonna be Elvis, and you're gonna wish you'd believe me. I face Morgan, pointedly turning my back to Tara. Anyway, we're ready to go if you are. So, do you both have flashlights? We're going to be heading a bit deeper into the woods this time. We both held up our lights in unison. After our first venture into the forest together, there's no way I'd ever going out there without us each having a flashlight. I don't know why my brain couldn't figure that out. Anyway, just having one makes me feel more self-reliant. It helps suppress my anxiety a little bit. Just a little. Great, follow me. We circle back around the cabin and head into the woods. I've been waiting to show you showing you to this since you got here. You're gonna love it. Tara starts to vibrate again, clearly soaking up the suspense. As much as I hate to admit it, she's got me pretty curious too. I'm not sure what she could be keeping secret out here, and for so long. This isn't gonna be dangerous or anything, right? Probably not. I like those odds. Guess we'll see. We set off at a fairly brisk pace. Tara makes it a point to walk right by Morgan's side, taking short and hurried strides. If she doesn't find out what's going on soon, I'm pretty sure she might actually explode. Okay, I'm gonna keep guessing. Ancient graveyard, fairy circle, satanic ritual, Sasquatch den. Close, it's a church. Tara stops dead in her tracks. Wait, a church? Was Maddie right when she said you're gonna try to get us to join a cult? I never said that. I might have said that. She's like, alright, guilty as charged. Despite our antics, Morgan never stops or slows down. Nothing like that, I promise. It's really old, older than any of the buildings you've seen in Eisenfeld. The people who built it are ancestors of the residents today. I guess that they were what you'd call pagans. They worshipped a god of the forest. Whoa. I expect more to the story, but that seems to be Morgan's stopping point for now. She focuses on the path instead, swinging her lantern around in an arc as she looks for whatever it is that's telling her where to go. Every single tree around me looks identical, but I guess one of them is a little more special than the rest. When she sees whichever one that is, she starts to lead us on again. You can hear the wisping wind, like adding great ambience. My glasses start fogging up a bit as we walk. I should have insisted that Tara layer up a bit more. I'd be a pretty crappy friend if I let her freeze to death out here. So, to summarize, your great whatevers and the rest of the villagers built an old church out in the forest to worship a giant forest spirit, and that's what we're going to see right now? Right. Have I mentioned that this is going to be the best episode of the show ever? Morgan's got Tara hanging on her every word, hook, line, and sinker. I'm glad she's having a good time, at least. No thanks to me. You said it's older than the rest of the village. Do you know how old? Centuries, at least. I don't know how many. I've done some research on the history of Eisenfeld, but none of the books really mention it. How'd you learn about it, then? A lot of it comes from old journals, or other documents left behind by the people who used to live here. Parts of it are passed down as family legends, too. The image of Evelyn and Morgan sitting cozily by a fire while Evelyn tells stories is one that I can't imagine actually happened. I'm not going to pry into the details of that, though. You think we could take a look at those journals sometime? Maybe we could show them off on the show? Authentic first-hand accounts or something like that? For some reason, now Morgan stops looking ponderous. I also realize that it's starting to snow. Just barely, but enough to make me bite my lip and watch the sky. I'd be happy to show you. Score! You're seriously the best. Like, thanks for doing this. It's nothing, really. Don't all your hosts do the same? A lot of them only stick around for the first day or two. Then once they realize there's a lot of filming and setting up behind the scenes, they get bored. For all her issues, I can't deny that Morgan's been a much more gracious and helpful host than we're used to. And that was that was after all the beginning where she talked so much smack about her. Anyway, we walk in silence for a little bit. All the while, the snow continues to fall, getting heavier and heavier. At first, I try to ignore it, but it's hard. Like always, it seems it'll fall to me to be the reasonable one. Hey, Morgan, are you sure it's safe to keep going? It's starting to snow pretty hard. Both of them look up as if they hadn't noticed. Oh, you're right. Now it's Morgan who turns around and looks back the way we came. I can practically hear the gears turning in her head. Tara watches, looking anxious. Oh, so she only worries if Morgan starts to look uncomfortable. It's gonna get bad pretty soon. She says it so matter-of-factly that the first of the 70 of her the 70. I was like, she said 70 words? Anyway, she says it so matter-of-factly that at the first, I feel like that's a typo. At first, the severity of her words don't register. Then every single alarm bell in my head starts ringing. What? How soon is pretty soon, and how bad? I'd say within the next half hour. Those clouds don't look good. That's an understatement. They seem to be moving almost impossibly fast. Just like that, the weather has gone from a light snow to the start of a blizzard. We need to turn back then, back to the cabin. I take a couple of steps, but the fresh snow has made it harder to walk. Even the trail that we just left has been partially obscured. We're closer to the church than the cabin. I think we should go there and wait it out. Wait it out? What if it doesn't just pass by? What if we're stuck there for days? It's better than being dead, you know. I turned to her in disbelief. No shit it is. Morgan wrings her hands, looking genuinely distressed. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it was... Once again, she looks back in the direction we came from, lost in thought. Ah, the tension is rising, everybody. Can you feel it? I feel it. It's exciting. We're just wasting time standing here arguing, you know. Morgan said we should go to the church, and she's the expert. I am loath to call her an expert at this point, but Tara's right that we don't have time to spare. We're definitely in dire straits if she's the only one being the voice of reason, or if she's the one being the voice of reason. Fine, let's get going then. Yeah, guys, we can't sit here arguing. We're gonna get snowed in. We don't waste any more energy on talking. We just follow Morgan as closely as we can. The light from her bounces in the wind, reminiscent of the light we followed just a few short days ago. I focus on it, using it as a beacon, since it's easier to keep track of than Morgan herself. I bury my face into my scarf as much as I can, feeling the wind push against me and making it harder to walk. It's a problem, man. It's a problem. Man, things is getting... It just got tense in here. It's so tense now. By now, the world around us is starting to grow more and more blurry. It'll be a whiteout before long. My heart beats hard in my chest as my anxiety starts to skyrocket. We keep walking, huddling closer together as we press on. Tara keeps a brave face, but she's shuddering more with each step. Morgan and I push a little closer to her, hoping to help shield her from the wind as much as we can. When we get back, if we get back, I'm not letting her take another step outside until she agrees to start wearing something warmer. After what feels like years, we come to a stop. My legs are leaden with the effort of marching through the snow. I'm afraid that Morgan's going to say that we're lost, but then I realize that we've arrived. Just ahead, a huge stone building stands tall. For its supposed age, it looks remarkably intact. The howling winds buffet it, but even from here it looks infinitely safer than being stuck out here. A pair of massive wooden doors loom before us. Just give me 1 second, I'll get this open. She grabs a hold of the door and starts to pull. The freezing wind works against her, and for a tense moment, I worry she wouldn't be able to get them open. But then with a creak that's audible even in this weather, they slide open to let us in. After you. We both don't need telling twice. Tara and I hurry inside, with Morgan letting the door slam shut behind her as she follows. The first thing that strikes me is the temperature. An old stone building in the middle of a blizzard should be frigid, but it's not. In fact, it's almost warm. How suspicious. Mads, we hit the jackpot. Her shout reverberates around the massive chamber, leaving a faint echo in its wake. When Morgan said at church, I figured it would be some small wooden shack with a tacked-on steeple, but this... Tara's flashlight beam dances wildly along the walls as she spins in circles, trying to take in every last detail all at once. Yeah, that's awfully good looking for like centuries old or whatever. This is nothing short of incredible. I let my light drift as well, but slowly enough that I can actually take the time to process what I'm seeing. The whole interior is remarkably well preserved. A few broken pews, a couple pieces of collapsed stone, and a layer of dust on nearly every surface are the only things that make the place seem anything less than brand new. Looking closer at the building itself, I could see various flourishes or designs decorating the walls and railings. Whoever built this place, they built it as a labor of love. The centerpiece is a massive stained glass window that dominates the center of the far wall. Its brilliant colors form an intricate pattern. I make my way over to Morgan, who's currently watching Tara dart around the building with a small, satisfied smile. It dissipates as I approach. Even though I'm relieved to be out of the storm, I can't believe we ended up in this situation in the first place. Before I could say anything, though, she beats me to it. I'm really sorry about this, I truly am. If I had known the weather would turn this foul, I would never have suggested we come out here. The last thing I want to do is to place you and Tara in any danger. I just wanted to show the two of you something tangible, something different. I swallowed my harsh words. Chastising her wouldn't do us any good, plus she's right about the weather changed way faster than I would have expected or even thought possible. So I just rubbed my shoulders, trying to massage some warmth back into him. Don't apologize yet, there's still plenty of time for us to die out here of starvation or something like that. I think it's more likely we die of exposure first. Well, that's reassuring. Suddenly, a beam of light swipes across my face. It comes from Tara on the other side of the building. Hey, come check out these books! Morgan and I both start to head over. By the way, how do you keep it so warm in here? I was looking for a heater or something, but couldn't find one. It's magic, I think. You know what? I'm not even going to argue. Tara, I don't know what the word I was trying to say. Tara's waiting excitedly next to a stack of books. That's probably next to a stack of books. That's probably a first. Check it out. The wooden shelves are warped and damaged beyond repair, but still have maintained their shape pretty well. The books that line them are in a similar condition. When I remove one, its once soft cover is cold and rigid, and the text has faded into illegibility. But flipping through the pages, a few of them are still readable, or at least would be if I could understand the language. Tell me these aren't filled with ancient incantations or something. These aren't filled with ancient incantations. She holds up a book to her face and blows a puff of air towards me, filling my face with dust. I wrinkle my nose, coughing and sputtering. Hey, what the hell? You don't know what's floating around in here. You're literally the only person alive who could be in a haunted church and not care at all. She never said it was haunted, you know. And I'm sorry that I'm still a bit shaken up over, you know, almost dying in a snowstorm. Pfft. We weren't ever in any real danger, I'm sure. Isn't that right, Morgan? Actually, I was sure we were gonna make it here. Actually, let me back that up. Actually, I wasn't sure we were gonna make it here. Tara's eyes widen, the reality of the situation hitting her at last. Then she grins. That makes us even more badass story for the vlog. Mads, you have to go hard on the wind sound effects. Maybe we should get the camera outside, get some footage of the blizzard. She hurries over to where I'd abandoned the camera on one of the pews and picks it up, dancing around as she frames mock shots. I open my mouth to tell her how dumb that is when a trickle of dust spirals past me. The whole church shakes with a slight tremor and more dust is displaced. Earthquake? That would be the icing on the cake. It would also be horrifically ironic if we survived the blizzard only to die in a freak earthquake. Something tells me that's not what this is, though. There's another tremor, slightly stronger this time, and with it a distant boom, with someone shouting like someone shooting a cannon in the forest. The three of us exchange a glance. Silently, for once, even Tara is silent. Boom. The stained glass window rattles. I hear Morgan suck in a breath. When I look at her, her eyes are wild and confused. Boom. The thunderous sound is getting closer. Then there's another sound, a blistering crack that I recognize as a tree splintering. No winds, no matter how strong, should be able to do that. Wordlessly, Tara heads over to the front doors. Though my first instinct is to call her back to what I hope is safety, I find myself more curious than afraid. I have to know what this is. I have to see it. Morgan lingers behind us, unsure of what to say or do. Tara reaches the doors and presses her shoulder against it. She pushes the door open, just a crack, or at least she tries to. But the terrifying wind catches and rips the doors all the way open, as if presenting the scene before us. I struggle to comprehend what I'm seeing. Taller even than the trees, stands with what I can only describe as a monster. Two enormous, luminous red eyes peer out across the black expanse of the night sky. Neither the howling wind nor the biting snow seem to affect it at all. Oh my god. That's not possible. This can't be happening. This can't be real. My legs are about to collapse under me. My heart drops like a rock in my chest, and every heartbeat sends a rush of blood through my body so strong it drowns out the cacophonous storm. Tara fumbles with the camera, her hand shaking violently. Cursing, trembling, she struggles to lift it up to her face, repeatedly losing her grip as she tries to focus on the thing in front of us. I don't know how she could even have the presence of mind to do that. My thoughts are a blur as my mind does its best to process what I'm seeing. It's like the force itself has come to life, like a whole mass of trees just uprooted themselves from the ground to form something that can't possibly exist. Branches twist and contort into each other. One tree splits into 10. Wood rotting into decay and growing anew again, spin from the impossible red center. Two immense horns pierce the sky, looking like lightning bolts permanently imprinted against the clouds. Every thought that I can manage to form is fleeting. Every rational part of me tells me that what I'm seeing shouldn't exist, that it isn't possible. Yet here it is, undeniable. All I can do is stare. The red glows brightly, burning my eyes, like it's staring right back at me. Maybe it is. The beast shuffles forward, its feet obscured by the forest below. With each movement, there's another massive echo. Trees crackle and snap beneath its massive weight like twigs, flattened to nothing and buried under the snowfall. Yikes, though! Holy crap! Look at that thing, though. So that's big. Hard to deny paranormal things exist now, huh? Slowly, the beast lumbers off into the night and is swallowed from sight by the darkness. Soon, even the sound of its footsteps fade too. I'm not sure how long Tara and I remain in petrified silence. I realize that I've fallen to my knees, though I have no recollection of that happening. I feel like I have no recollection of anything, that nothing will ever make sense again. At some point, Morgan comes to my side, helping Tara and I back indoors. My whole body is numb with either shock or the cold, perhaps both. She leads us to one of the benches that's mostly intact. I collapse down onto it, my legs still unwilling to support me. I glance at Tara. All the color is gone from her face, and she's still trembling. I probably don't look much better. For a long time, none of us know what to say. We sit and wait until long after the snow has stopped falling and morning arrives. Chapter 2! Now keep in mind, there is a couple of forks in the road choices later on. Forks in the road choices. But nothing matters until Chapter 3. So whether there is a choice beforehand, it doesn't matter. Like as far as getting the ending we want. Or there might not be any choices until Chapter 3. So we don't have to worry about that till then. Anyway. Now, I don't say a word on the way back to the cabin. How can I? How do you vocalize the knowledge that your core understanding of the world just turned out to be wrong? It feels like the ground beneath my feet dropped out from under me. My steps are unsteady and I feel nausea come up like waves. My head pounds hard. I've always prided myself on my healthy skepticism, but I can't deny it was right in front of me. My thoughts scrambled to find some way to explain it, some way that I can piece it together in a way I can understand. But it's hopeless. Tara is still struck mute. I'd expect her to be bouncing off the walls, to be unable to calm down. After all, this is what she's been after for years. Ever since we started the show, ever since we first had the idea for the show. Now that we've finally actually found something, neither of us know how to react. She keeps playing the short clip she recorded over and over again, watching it until the battery runs dry. A lot of it is unusable due to the snow and her shaky hands. But there are a few seconds of clear, uninterrupted footage. Her ratings are gonna go off the charts, and we're gonna have to prepare for endless barrages of questions and accusations of doctoring the footage. That'll mean interviews, national news, maybe even a book deal. Nothing will ever be the same again. But all we can manage is silence. Morgan's the only one who seems somewhat calm, though even she's a bit shaken. She's the one who coaxes us to leave the church and start heading back to town. It's the obvious thing to do, yet somehow the suggestion sounds like a crazy idea that I never would have come up with myself. All of my thoughts are mush. If it weren't for Morgan, I'm sure Tara and I would have both ended up wandering the woods in total shock. I can barely manage a slow stumble as I follow from way behind. Thick, fresh snow impedes the path. The blizzard subsided, but the harsh winds bite at my exposed skin. It all feels like too much. Maddie, you okay? It takes a few seconds to even register her voice, and a few more to realize she's looking back at me with genuine concern. Yeah, I'm fine. My brain screams to ask for help, but my body feels moments away from collapsing. But what kind of help could she give me? I can only focus on reaching our destination. Morgan looks like she wants to respond, but instead resumes her trek forward, this time moving at a somewhat slower pace. After a while, the faintest light in the distance comes into view, the cabin. Our light, our refuge in the darkness. Tara's pace quickens to a near sprint, like she's been waiting for this moment. She rushes and crosses the distance, disappearing inside. Morgan walks alongside me. She opens the door, following inside behind me. I feel a sudden pang of guilt over how much I've disregarded her before now, especially since she was actually right. Yeah, no kidding. As soon as I reach the couch, my legs give out from under me and I fall onto it like a ton of bricks. It isn't until I hit the cushions that I realize I nearly crushed Tara, who was already collapsed next to me. Sorry. She doesn't say anything, she might not have noticed. I thought that getting back to the cabin in safety would renew her enthusiasm. She should be running circles around me, screaming, "I told you so!" Everything about her whole existence has just been validated. But she's just looking down at the ground without saying a word. Her bangs obscure her eyes, making her face unreadable. Her chest rises and falls in an odd rhythm. Then I realize that she's just like me, she's still trembling. The monster's silhouette flashes through my head again, huge and terrifying, the red light shining down to the very center of my being. Here, this'll help. She sets 2 glasses of water down on the table in front of us. I didn't even register her coming over here. Tara clears her throat and leans forward. Thanks, seriously. They're the first words she's spoken in what feels like hours. She manages a small sip, but most of it dribbles down her shirt. I didn't even reach for my glass, knowing that my hands are just as shaky, if not more. My entire worldview is shattered. It's gonna take more than just a walk in the snow and a glass of water for everything to sink in. How are you not freaking out? Have you seen that thing before? No, that was my first time as well. She doesn't answer the other part of my question. Tara continues to slowly drink her glass of water, while mine remains untouched. At some point, Morgan goes into the kitchen and prepares a pot of coffee. I can hear her rummage around in the fridge and smell the coffee as it brews, but neither register beyond a cursory awareness. What does get my attention is when she sets 2 steaming mugs down in front of us, hot coffee sloshing over onto her hands. Drink this, it'll help. I do as I'm told, lapping at the brew since it's too hot to sip. Tara does the same. Morgan sits beside her on the couch, draining her own mug much faster than we do as she gazes out the window. By the time I'm about halfway through my own, I do feel a bit better. Whether that's because of the warmth, the caffeine, or just the placebo effect, I'm not sure. Once we're finished, we just lapse back into preoccupied silence. Yet again, it's Morgan who breaks it. I think the two of you should take some time to relax. I need to get home too before I arouse too much suspicion. Does that work for you? I looked at Tara, who doesn't seem to have even heard what Morgan said. Yeah, that's fine. The more that I think about it, the more appealing it sounds. Right now, I want nothing more than to curl up in my bed, cocoon myself in blankets, and sleep for a while. Okay, I'll see you later then. Never one for long goodbyes, Morgan heads straight to the door. I'll message you soon. She leaves before either of us can respond. We sit, and sit. I don't even know for how long, longer than I've ever seen Tara sit still. I just don't know what else to do. As much as I'd like to, I know we can't just sit here forever. The knowledge that we'll soon have to return to mundane everyday things feels unreal. We just witnessed something magical and life-changing. How can we go back to normal life? But I know that in truth, the world hasn't changed at all, just our knowledge of it. No matter how long we wait, the outside world will continue to pass us by. It feels like an eternity passes, but Tara's voice breaks through the silence. I'm not sure if I fell asleep or not, but I react with the start, and my heart beats 100 miles an hour. So what do you think? About which part? There's a lot to take in. Yeah. About all of it, or any of it. While she sits, she idly pulls on a loose thread from a blanket close by. She pulls and pulls, and it unravels even further. I don't think she notices she's doing it. I think the main thing is that I wonder what else is out there now. Just like in the forest, not just in the forest, but in the whole world. Are there more of those things? But is it the only one of its kind? And how did no one else ever see it before? There's just so much that I don't know how or what to feel. What about you? Again, she shrugs. The same, pretty much. There's no way you're not gonna get that BootTube award now, you know. It's a surefire joke. It should be an easy smile, but she doesn't react at all. Probably not. I think I'm gonna crash. Good night, Mance. Just like Morgan, she gets up and leaves without even giving me time to reply. There's barely 5 seconds between her saying it and her bedroom door slamming shut behind her. It's not at all the kind of response I'd expect from Tara, but these are far from normal circumstances. All that I can do now is wait, for her or for Morgan. Wait and wonder. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, I will say this, though. I feel like I would not react this heavily. I don't feel like it would rattle my whole worldview. I don't know. I mean, maybe not, right? Because, like, how are you supposed to really judge something so big happening? You know, what you thought existed versus what didn't? You know, I don't know. I just feel like my whole world wouldn't be shattered. Like, it's like the whole world turned upside down. You know what I mean? You know, it's like for Tara and Maddie, it feels like they're acting like it's like, I literally can't fathom. My brain cannot keep up. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like I would react that strongly. Like, I mean, I would be, you know, obviously super surprised at everything or whatever, but I don't feel like it would rattle my whole worldview. And I guess maybe because I'm open to the idea of, like, I don't know. There are lots of mysteries in the world, and I like that idea. I like knowing that there's things in the world that humans don't know. I like that, alright? I like knowing there might be a monster in the dark, okay? Like, that's just because I like spooky stuff, right? So, but I feel like if I found out something that I thought was, hey, maybe, and if I found out it was real, I felt that I would just be like, you know, hey, that's cool, or whatever, and, like, I'd be really surprised, or whatever, but I don't think my whole world would turn upside down or anything. Anyway, after a late night spent researching, I awaken around 11 in the morning, a good 2 or 3 hours later than I usually get up. I get dressed in a hurry, not wanting to keep Tara waiting before we head into town. It would be a pretty ironic twist though, since I'm usually the one who has to wait for her to get ready after late nights. I have a sheaf of notes that I took and a hand cramp to match. I'm not sure how useful all of it will be, but it's at least a starting point. Tara's good at seeing the hidden connections and putting pieces together too. It makes for entertaining videos even without results. Out in the living room, a lukewarm pot of coffee and a used mug are the only indication that she's awake. Hey, I'm up now. Slept in a little. I'll be ready to go in a sec. I call out from the kitchen, prepping my own cup of coffee. She doesn't respond, and I wonder if she can't hear me with the door closed. I go and knock on the door, being careful not to spill any coffee on myself. No response. I knock again, louder. Most likely she has her headphones in, that or she fell back asleep. You ready? I'm good to go. I have a bunch of notes and research too. Maybe we can go over some of it with Morgan. Silence. She's not that heavy of a sleeper. I knock again, even harder, but she still doesn't answer. I jiggle the doorknob a little bit. It turns easily. I open the door slowly, giving her ample time to yell and interrupt me. But she doesn't. Her room is empty. She left without me. I let go of my carefully arranged papers, suddenly not really caring that much about them as they flutter to the floor. My hand shakes hard enough for coffee to spill out of the mug and stain the pages below. So that's how it is, whatever it is. I swallowed the lump in my throat, forcing myself to not overreact. Maybe she tried to wake me up, but I slept through it. Or maybe she just went out for a walk and I will be back soon, so that we can go into town. There are 100 different benign scenarios for what could have happened, but in my heart, I know that she ditched me, plain and simple. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, you're probably right? Probably correct. I go to the sink and dump out the coffee, my appetite suddenly gone. Then I pick up the papers that I dropped. A few are ruined beyond legibility from the coffee, but it's not like anyone will miss them. I throw them in the trash, along with the sodden paper towels that I use to clean up the spill. I gather the rest of the papers into a pile and leave them on the counter. Throwing them away felt like a waste, but I don't really want to look at them right now. I retreat back to my room and slam the door, even though there's no one around to hear it. I put on a film at random for background noise more than anything. My thoughts start to wander before the opening credits are even finished. What exactly was it that I did that upset Tara so much? Before Morgan took us to the church, things were fine between us, if not a bit tense, but I was working on my attitude, and she didn't seem bothered. And since seeing the monster, both of us have said so little. So I'm just wondering what I did wrong. I wish that she would talk to me or at least help me understand. I'm about 15 minutes into the film before I realize that I have the French audio track playing without subtitles and that I haven't understood a word of it. I close my laptop and stare blankly at the wall since that's the only thing I can do and not mess up right now. It isn't long before I can hear the crunching of 2 pairs of footsteps outside, as well as the low murmur of conversation. The front door bursts in, and from my room I can hear the din of Tara entering. Gotta be related to the stuff in the journals. There's no way they're not talking about the same thing. Just send all those pics to my email address when you can. This is gonna be so freaking good. Sure thing. I sit paralyzed in my bed. Should I ignore them? Go out and act like nothing's out of the ordinary? Part of me wants to just hide in my room, but the way Tara and I have always gotten over our arguments is by being open about our issues. Plus, Tara would know that I'm at the cabin, so if she brought Morgan back here, I doubt she's trying to avoid me. Maybe they just came back specifically to include me. Yeah, maybe, little tear. Hoping for the best, I head out into the living room. Tara's brewing a pot of coffee while Morgan leans against the counter. A few books that she must have brought from home are stacked beside her. She glances up as I enter. Hey, Maddie. Hey there. Tara nods without facing me. What are the books? I nod at the stack. Tara sets 2 cups of coffee in front of her and Morgan and slides the books towards herself. They're the journal she mentioned at the walk to the church. She was letting me take a look at them. She puts emphasis on the word me, like she's the only one who's allowed to. Maybe that's the case. This isn't off to a great start. I see you picked up a coffee habit too, huh? Morgan's really rubbed off on you. Yeah. She turns to face Morgan, being sure to exclude me from what she says. Okay, we can chill in my room. Might want to grab one of the spare chairs from out here. Oh, okay. It's a small consolation, but I can tell that even Morgan feels a little uncomfortable with the situation. She gives me a sympathetic look, but doesn't say anything. Just why is Tara acting like this? If she would just tell me, we could work it out. I stick out an arm, halting Morgan as she carries the chair across the cabin. Tara, can I talk to you for a sec? She's like, she gives her like that little smile. Hey friend, you want to just step in here real quick? And she's like, I'm going to destroy you. The two of them exchange a look, but I can't tell what it's supposed to mean. Then she shrugs. I gesture towards my room and she follows me in. I shut the door. Can you please, tell me why you're mad at me? I'm not mad at you. I scoff. Whatever you want to call it, why are you treating me like this? Like what? I can always feel myself starting to get angry, but I try to keep it under control. Or not always, I can already feel myself. Please don't play dumb like that. You barely talked to me for 3 days. You ditched me this morning, and now you're going out of your way to exclude me. I don't know how to interpret that as anything other than mad. I have no idea what I said or did to piss you off, so I don't know I don't even know what to apologize for. Tara runs a hand through her hair and looks around my room. It's the first time she's been in here since we arrived in Eisenfeld. It's more or less a carbon copy of hers, so I don't know what's so interesting about it. I'm not mad. I'm just not wasting your time with this stuff anymore. I can take it from here. I'm not quite sure I heard that. I heard her right. I'm sorry, what? I said I can take it from here. Take what, exactly? The vid. I mean, you're quitting anyway, so I've got to learn how to do all this all on my own, right? But that's not... I don't even know what to say to that. Why not ask me at least, or even tell me? That's so screwed up. How do you figure? Every day since we've got here, you talked about, or at least shown how, you don't want to be here. You even said it yourself. You had to make an effort to be less bitchy whenever we go out. So now that we've had a solid, now that there's a solid lead, I can figure out the rest for myself, or at least with Morgan's help. If you want, I could buy you an early train ticket home or something. Next one should be coming through in a day or two. You don't have to keep pretending to care. The whole time, her tone never changes. It's flat and emotionless. I wonder if that's another result of Morgan's influence. I wait, expecting there to be more, hoping that there's more. There isn't. I stand there dumbfounded. Tara shrugs again and then leaves, closing my bedroom door behind her. Okay, sorry about that. Let's get those journals. I could still hear her talking to Morgan through the wall, bright and chipper. My legs feel weak all of a sudden, and I collapse onto my bed. Through everything, my own misgivings and concerns about my future, choosing to quit the show and telling Tara about it, and even witnessing the monster at the church, I've managed to keep my composure. But for the first time in I don't know how long, I can't stop it any longer. I cry. I don't even blame you this time. Like, that was a really horrible way to treat Maddie. And like, normally, I get it. I like Maddie, alright? I do. Honestly, so far, favorite character. She probably is my favorite character. But she can be kind of a bitch, okay? But that's okay. Everyone's cranky. I get it, okay? She's under lots of stress at the same time. So it's fine. She's under lots of stress. That's totally understandable. Totally understandable. But come on, Tara. That was a horrible way to treat Maddie. Like, she's quitting. It doesn't mean that you have to exclude her from everything as of today. You know what I mean? Like, you could have tried. Like, I mean, she said she's quitting after this, right? So that means she's still with it up until the end of this one. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like that was a really mean thing for Tara to do. Just saying. And I realize Maddie's my favorite, but I'm just saying. Anyway, all of this feels so unfair. Of course I didn't want to be here. It's been a waste of time every single other time. I get it. I was a skeptic, the non-believer, only humoring her in all her exploits and playing as her foil. I rained on her parade constantly, and now after seeing that everything that's happened, she was right. I can't deny that. But why does that mean I don't deserve to be involved with it now? Maybe she took my leaving personally, even though I swore that wasn't the case. I was only doing what was right for me. I needed to move on and do something with my life. So is it really my fault that that meant I had to stop playing around with paranormal stuff? After these past couple days, I was even starting to reconsider that. Maybe staying on the show wouldn't be so bad. Once the episode goes live, everything will be changing. But now I don't feel like that's an option, like even she'd want me there anymore. I feel like everything in my life just changed in a few short days, like I'm lost at sea without anything to hold on to. My best friend in the whole world is at the epicenter of it all, and I'm thousands of miles from home. Through the walls, I can faintly hear the sound of Morgan and Tara discussing whatever it is, not exactly loud enough for me to make out any words, but enough to be reminded of my exclusion. I wonder if Tara knows how upset I am, or if she's expected me to be grateful. Neither would surprise me. Yeah, you know. I cry until my eyes are dry and sore, but I don't feel any better. The walls of my bedroom feel claustrophobic, and the vague sounds of Tara talking is insufferable. Oh yes, I hurriedly buckle up and slip out of my bedroom and out of the cabin to get some fresh air. The cold is just barely more manageable today, but it's still preferable to the atmosphere inside. It stings my wet cheeks, burning reminders of my unhappiness. I pick a direction at random and start heading into the forest. As long as I don't make any twists or turns and just go in a straight line, I won't be able to get lost. After what I've seen, the woods feel especially hostile now. I wonder what else could be lurking in the shadows or further amongst the trees. Countless possibilities that I had never considered as suddenly plausible. But for once, I don't hesitate. I just walk, my feet automatically stepping over roots and other forest debris. Underfoot, the snow is slushy and messy. My head feels the same. My heart hurts. Everything hurts. My nose burns from crying, the cold only exacerbating the effect. Yeah, that was a pretty awful thing for Tara to do, just saying. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? I just feel lost. I reflect on the show and on the years I've spent with Tara and wonder how it all came to this. The show had been her idea, of course, but I was the one who encouraged her to go through with it. She's always had a flair for the dramatic, whether it was the school play, her old blog, or even the over-the-top fanfic she used to write, and I'd always been there to support her, whatever it was. I'd go over her lines with her and help her rehearse, or even edit her fics. When she first had the idea for Paranormal and combining her two biggest interests, cryptids and herself, I was the only person who said she should go for it. I even came up with the name, which I'm still pretty proud of. At first, I thought it would just be another entry in a long list of harebrained ideas that Tara would start and quickly lose interest in. I gave it 2, maybe 3 episodes tops before she got bored, but the reception was good and the views started coming in, so did the ad revenue and the sponsorships. What had started as a weekend hobby turned into a weekend responsibility and then into a day job. My role went from holding a cheap camera and stitching together the footage to actually learning proper video editing and investing in decent equipment. It seemed only natural that I'd be the one to handle all of the invites, fan mail, inquiries, and more, the professional side of things. I put my life on hold for the show, quit college halfway through my film studies degree, and moved out of my cheap student housing. I gave up my barista job and the store manager promotion I'd been hoping for. I dropped everything in order to help Tara make the best show possible. Sorry, that was my phone going off. I will mute that. Sorry. Right, okay, I helped Tara make the best show possible. Sure, it wasn't like I had it rough. Tara's always split the royalties with me and pays for the expenses herself. The two of us have done pretty well for ourselves, better than we had any right to expect, but at the end of the day, it was still always about Tara. Her name in the title, her name on the contracts, her name in the fan mail, Tara, Tara, Tara. And when it's all over, when the final episode someday goes up and she moves on, she'll be able to take that name with her anywhere. That success, that popularity, and all I'll have is the memory. The more I dwell on it, the more unfair Tara's behavior seems. I can still feel anger overcoming my sadness. How could she say I'm only pretending to care? I gave up years of my life for her, and dedicated them to making her look good. Without me, she'd never been able to balance running the business side of the show while actually making it. Hell, she's not even close to being tech savvy enough to do what I do. Part of me wants to spin around right now and go back to the cabin and demand an apology. But I know how that would go. She'd just get defensive, and even if she did say she's sorry, she wouldn't mean it. It wouldn't actually fix anything. We'd just be back to where we started when we first got to Eisenfeld, awkward and tense. Or back to Eisenfeld, awkward and tense. There isn't really a good solution that I can think of, but I have to do or say something. Or I can't just leave things as they are. Her offer for an early chart poem lingers in my mind. I'm sure she'd make good on that promise. It sounds pretty tempting too. In less than 3 days, I could be comfortable, warm, and back in my own bed. I'd never have to think about Morgan, or Eisenfeld, or forest spirits, or weird churches, or floating lights again. I could just move on with my life, the same I had been planning to once I got home anyway. As I think that though, I know it's not really an option. I'd never be able to live with myself if I let it all go unresolved. Two piercing red eyes shine in my memory, and I know that there's no way I'd be able to forget about them. See, I mean, she's right. That's the thing. Yes, that she brings up a good point, about being responsible for all the tech side, and Tara kinda, Tara wouldn't be here without her. It was a team effort, right? It was a team effort. So, all that makes sense. But the thing is, if Maddie just bails, then her former best friend will be just that, a former best friend. Because then this fight will separate them, and they will never talk again. Or if they do, it'll be years from now, and it'll probably be awkward. So it's one of those things that, like, if you leave stuff unresolved and just bail, it always comes back to bite you. So it's better to, like, stick with it now. Maybe you can find a solution, but if you can't, you'll lose Tara. Tara and Maddie will separate, and that'll be it. Anyway, remembering the monster makes me stop and take stock of my surroundings. I've been walking at a pretty good rate, unhindered by the weather and fueled by my bad mood. There's a small clearing just up ahead, and it looks like it might be a good spot to take a short break. That's a great plan, Maddie. Why don't you take a breather, admire the snow. It's not very big, I realize when I reach it. I could toss a stone from one side to the other. It doesn't feel as stifling as the rest of the forest, though. I clear my throat. It's the only noise I can hear. The sound of the village don't travel this far. They barely reach the cabin, for the most part. Overhead, the sky is a crystal clear blue for the first time that I can remember. It's still freezing, but it isn't cloudy. And not even an airplane or vapor trail disturb the tranquility. I rub my eyes and defog my glasses. I must look like a real mess out here. I do feel a little bit better, though. The fresh air alone helped clear my head. The snow underfoot is well trampled from my stomping around, and mud mixes from the slush to form a thin paste that sticks to my boots. If there was somewhere to sit down, this place would be perfect. I make do with leaning against a tree that's mostly dry. I'll need to remember how I got here. It would be nice to have a place of my own to retreat to when I need it, away from the other two. Just as I'm enjoying the tranquility, there's a rustling sound overhead, and I look up just in time to get a face full of snow as it slides off a branch. Perfect timing. I cough and splutter, wiping away as much of it as I can, though a lot of it still falls into my clothes. I flap my jacket like wings, trying to knock it out. Right then, from the corner of my eye, a quick motion catches my attention. It's gone too fast for me to notice more than a glimpse of fabric, and I turn around to see who it was. But there's nothing there, and no sign of anything having been there. Heart pounding, I walk over to the direction it came from, looking for footprints or something. There's nothing. I rub my eyes. Maybe it was the snow messing with my vision. Snap. The harsh, unmistakable sound of a branch breaking cracks behind me. I spin around, hoping to see Tara there with a dumb smile on her face for having spooked me. But again, there's nothing. I pull my coat tighter around myself and press my back against a tree. Hello? Is someone there? My voice resounds through the clearing but goes unanswered. Again, a flash of movement from the corner of my eye. This time, I'm sure I see it. A glimpse of purple darting behind a tree. I start towards it, hand reaching, not without a clear plan in mind, but without a clear plan in mind. Just like a dog chasing cars, I don't know what I'll actually do if I catch it. I walk into the middle of the clearing, turning a slow circle, hoping to spot whatever it was. Can you hear me? Hello? It already knows I'm here. There's no point trying to hide. Snow crunches off to my left, and I pivot just in time to see a girl disappear behind yet another tree. Hey, wait! I may as well not be saying anything for all the effect it seems to have. I hurry to the tree where I saw her, but she's gone. I'm just running in circles, chasing after who knows what. My heart beats like a kick drum. A million possibilities race through my head, each more fantastic than the last. Maybe she's from the village. Maybe I imagined her. Maybe she's another forest spirit. Maybe she's the same forest spirit we saw before in a different form. Any of them could be true. I've seen now that nothing is impossible. I look all around, searching for a clue and finding none. This is a bad idea. I know. Every single fairy tale I've ever read warns that this is a bad idea. Chasing after mysterious girls in the woods never ends well. She could be luring me to her secret lair, or she could even be disguised as some kind of terrible monster. Maybe it's the forest spirit, come to exact revenge for trespassing on its territory. I should turn and run, and race back to the cabin. If I told Tara and Morgan, I'm sure this is the kind of thing that would override Tara's annoyance, at least for now. It could be our chance to patch things up, pursuing some new mystery. Or I could not tell Tara, and I could solve the mystery myself, whatever it is. For the first time, something happened to me that doesn't involve Tara. That doesn't involve Tara. I could keep it that way. My hand is trembling, but I reach out in the direction I last saw the girl, more as a sign of openness than anything else. You still there? Silence. If you can hear me, can you let me know? No response. My fingers close over empty air. This is stupid. I feel like an idiot talking to no one. If she wanted to be caught, she would have let me, I'm sure. But then, if she didn't, what was the point of her even showing herself? I'll come back tomorrow, okay? If you'll be here again. It feels desperate. It is desperate. But I can't let this chance go, not when this could be all I have. A light breeze blows through as if to answer. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I stand there, hoping for another sign. As I give up and turn back towards the path home, I see it, for just a split second. A bright pink light, crystal clear and the color of a sunset, flashes just once. It's the same as the one we chased through the forest several days ago. My breath catches in my throat, my muscles tighten, poised to follow, but my common sense overrides. As much as I want to, I can't just go running off into the forest on my own. I'd probably never find my way back. I swallow. If it can understand me like it seems to, then I'll see it tomorrow, once I've had more time to prepare. I face the direction the light came from, even though it's gone now. I'll be back tomorrow, I promise. Heck yeah! Man, there's some serious development this episode, dude. We saw a giant forest monster, but there's lights, there's a possible girl in the forest. What's going on? How exciting! Anyway, sorry, I'll stop fanboying over here. Morgan and Tara never noticed me come home. They might not have even noticed that I left. I don't make any effort to talk with them. I'm still too angry with Tara. Instead, I spend the rest of my day in my room watching films or reading. All of the research that I was so eagerly working on is put aside, stuffed into a folder that's out of sight of my hard drive. I have my own project now, my own lead to explore. The thought of that light, the mysterious girl in the woods, stays on my mind through it all. Even late into the night, I can hear that Morgan's still over, in Tara's room with her. At some point, that sounds go from conversation to something else. I turn up my volume on my computer. They can do whatever they want. It's well past midnight when my eyes finally get heavy enough to sleep. Oh man, things are getting heavy for Tara and Morgan, clearly. The next day, I head straight to the clearing without telling anyone. Nearly 24 hours to the minute since I left it. From the thick clouds overhead, I can tell it's going to be a short trip. Still, I have to go, at least to see. My heart thumps with anticipation, and more than a little nervousness. It's an odd mix. I force myself to keep a calm demeanor and not get too worked up. It's difficult. I'm hopeful, but I don't know what for. I don't have a camera or even my cell phone. There's no way I can prove anything that happens. And it's not like there's anyone who would vouch for me, say what I saw. For now, it's important that I keep it that way. This encounter, whatever it may be, will be mine and mine alone. You know, I don't blame Maddie for this either. After what her and Tara recently have been going through, I get that. Wanting something just for yourself, you know? I get that. Arriving at the clearing, I brace myself for what I might find. Nothing's changed. I'm met with silence. There is a faint sound of trees rustling in the wind and nothing more. Hello? You out there? I give it a moment, waiting and hoping for a response that never comes. Maybe it really was my eyes playing tricks on me. The light could have been a reflection of the sun, and the girl could have been... There isn't a doubt left in my mind that the girl was there. There's no way I didn't see someone. Frustrated, I kick at some of the mush on the ground. It splashes up and splatters my legs. Are you there? I'm waiting. Please? I feel like a fool. I'm pleading with someone that may or may not exist to manifest. If someone had told me a week ago that I'd be doing this today, I'd have laughed at him. Everything about the situation is unlike me. My irritation builds up, with myself, with Tara, the stupid ghost light, with everything. Whatever was there is gone now, and really, what kind of an idiot convinces herself to come back to him for an imaginary date with a weird breeze? I clench my fist, looking without seeing. Slowly, I turn circles, hoping for something. Anything. I traipse back and forth at an increasingly desperate pace, not really sure what kind of clue I'm searching for, but knowing that I can't sit still. If I sit still, then I'm giving up, and if I give up, then I really don't have anything left for me out here. For the second day in a row, I feel the sting of tears in my eyes, and I pinch my eyes shut to stop them. Not here. Not today. I hold my breath there and suck in a deep breath. I hold my hand there and suck in a deep breath. The cold air stings my throat. I steady my breathing, fighting back the urge to cry. After a moment, once the urge is past, I lower my hand and open my eyes. And she's there. Ho ho ho! It's happening! So silently and so suddenly that it's like she was never not there. The mysterious girl stands before me, barefoot in the snow, but seemingly unfazed. She regards me with a curious look, her eyes wide, like I'm the one who's out of place. Now that she's here, right in front of me, I realize that I don't know what to say. Hello? Is all I could muster. My voice comes out weaker than I expected. Her eyes go wide at my word, her lips move, but no sound comes out. She mouths something else again, still without a voice. I can't hear you. A frown. She turns away. Have I disappointed her? She gonna disappear again? Please don't go. I don't know why I want her to stay. Something is clearly different, unnatural. This isn't a normal girl. But that's exciting in and of itself. The girl turns back around to face me again. She looks just as confused as I feel. There's a nervous sort of energy to her. Beneath the gown she's wearing, far too thin for the weather, the girl's legs are tense and ready to bolt. I take a step towards her, holding out my hand the same way I'd approach a kitten or lost puppy. My name's Madison. Can you understand me? She still looks a bit nervous but nods. So we speak the same language. That's good. Is she from Eisenfeld? I can't imagine she's from anywhere else. There's nothing else around. You were talking, right? Just a bit ago, but I couldn't hear you. Another nod. That means that for whatever reason, her words can't reach me. Maybe she's naturally mute, or maybe her voice was magically stolen. Every idea that comes to mind is more ridiculous than the last, but I consider them all equally. To my surprise, I'm able to remain calm and, by my standards, pretty level-headed. It seems that the girl is more afraid of me than vice versa. I drop my hand down, offering a handshake. She stares at it for a moment, maybe expecting it to turn into a snaker for me to shoot magic bolts from my fingers. When neither of those happens, she gingerly, slowly reaches for my hand. It passes right through me. Her fingers glide through the palm of my hand like a breeze disappearing into the air. Gasp. With a sad smile, she looks down, seemingly expecting the result. Horrific realization slowly dawns on me, with the same tinge of certainty that guided me out here. This girl isn't really here, in the same way that I am. You're a ghost. A slow, sad nod. She looks apologetic about it for inconveniencing me with her lack of corporeal form. I'm sorry. The words feel weak and inadequate, and nearly like a non sequitur. I don't know if is that how you pronounce that? Non sequitur? I don't know. But really, what else do you say to a ghost? She shakes her head vigorously, hair flying about, trying to rid herself of some bad thought. She gives me a big smile and stretches her arms wide, turning about in a gesture to the trees around us. What is it? I don't understand. The girl bites her lip, wondering how to best convey her message. Then, with a decisive nod, she points at me, then points at the ground between us. Pausing a moment, she holds that pose. Then she points to the trees, in particular, the path I'd come from, and shakes her head. A flash of fear knives its way under my skin. Is she threatening me? She definitely doesn't look like it. Something about where I come from? She nods, and then repeats the pointing, first at me, then at the ground. Me right here? Another nod. You're asking if I'll stay here. She nods and claps, hopping up. Except that she doesn't come down. She hovers there as if suspended by invisible strings, then slowly lowers herself back to the ground. I'm not sure if it's what she was going for, but I smile. Are you showing off? She laughs and nods, glad to be understood. I can stay for a bit, sure, if you want me to, I mean. The girl practically zooms the short distance between us, moving with what might be supernatural speed. She stands so close that her gown faces through me, uncomfortable in its lack of sensation. And she nods again, this time solemn and hopeful. I can't fight the feeling that she could easily be setting some kind of trap or leading me astray, but I still don't get that impression from her, so I agree. Okay, I'd be happy to. But I can't stay too long or Tara will start to wonder where I am. Tara again. For the first time since we arrived, I'm able to fully push her from my thoughts. I was so overwhelmed by meeting this girl that Tara didn't even register in my consciousness. But now, there she is again. She's more haunting than the ghost. The ghost in question mouths Tara's name, one of the few words I can actually lip read. The person I came here with, she's, back at the village. The girl's eyes go wide and points in the direction of the forest that makes a dragging motion back to where we are. That one's easy to understand. No, she's not coming here. She has no idea. For the first time, I'm glad the girl can't speak because it means she can't ask me to elaborate. I don't want to talk about Tara right now. Anyway, were you here yesterday too, watching me? A nod, wholly unapologetic. I thought so. I also thought I might be crazy, though. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised by either one. She looks surprised. I wonder if she knows about the other supernatural occurrences in the forest. Maybe they're connected somehow. The other day, my friend and I were out in the forest. Nod. And suddenly there was this huge snowstorm. Out of nowhere, we saw this giant thing. I stretched my hands to indicate just how enormous it was. But the enormity, it's obviously a typo. I'm just trying to figure out what should be there. But if the enormity and terror of it are impossible to convey. Maybe there's not supposed to be anything there. Maybe it's just but the enormity and terror of it are impossible to convey. Yeah, I would say there's not supposed to be anything there. Okay. I don't even know how to describe it. It was a monster of some kind, like a huge tree had come alive and was walking in the snow. Do you know anything about that? Not only does the girl nod, but she laughs, finding something funny about my story. I'm not sure if I should be worried or not. So you've seen it. Is it, like, evil? A firm shake of her head. That's good. It was honestly the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. After that, we taper off into silence. Well, I do. I don't have a reason to believe her, but so far she doesn't seem threatening at all. I have a hard enough time holding up my end of a conversation under normal circumstances. This just makes it even harder. The two of us just stand there looking at each other. Now that she's not moving around so much, I'm able to get a better look at her. She seems to be around my age, if not a bit younger. Her hair is long and slightly unruly, reaching down her back. She reminds me a bit of Rapunzel, all alone in the forest. A cute bow midway down helps keep her hair in place. Her wide eyes are curious but slightly sad. Still, she smiles so easily that I wonder if I'm just imagining the sorrow. As green as emeralds, her eyes kind of remind me of Morgan's. I was so taken aback by her sudden appearance and, well, ghostliness, that at first I didn't realize. She's beautiful. Her choice of attire makes a bit more sense now that I know that she can't feel the cold. The gown she's wearing has a few dangling threads and scuffed spots, which I assume haven't changed since she died. I shudder, trying not to think of my own mortality. What was it like? Why is she here instead of whatever usually happens when you die? Does she know what she's missing? An afterlife or lack thereof? I have a million questions about her life, about life itself. There's so much I want to ask, but it's impossible. Plus, we've only known each other for a few minutes. It feels like it would be rude to ask right away. A thick snowflake lands on my cheek, startling me. I'm pretty much forgotten about the weather. Overhead, the clouds are getting worse, and the snow is starting to fall more heavily. As much as I want to spend more time with her, I really don't want to be caught out in the middle of a blizzard a second time. I need to go back now, but will you be out here again? I'd like to see you again, if you'd like that too. She nods emphatically with a grin to match. I can't help but smile in return. It's nice to know that someone is looking forward to seeing me. Okay, I'll come back as soon as I can, I promise. Although I'm not sure when the weather will be able to let me do that. On the next sunny day, I'll be here, okay? She nods. Okay, I'll see you soon then, I hope. The girl waves goodbye as I turn to leave, remaining in the center of the clearing. As I get my last look at her, I know that I'm not imagining the sadness in her eyes now. I glance behind several times on the walk back, each time expecting her to have disappeared once more. But she stays there, waving until the trees obscure her from sight. A splash of purple fabric against the brown and white of the forest. A little spark of light to look forward to. How cool is that? We met a ghost! And she's so pretty. So pretty. With almost every step I take, I cast a glance behind me. I keep expecting to hear the crunch of snow or spot a flash of red hair as Tara follows me, but there's nothing. I'm alone. I hurry through the woods practically on autopilot. Less than a week ago, I'd never have set foot in the forest on my own, but now I already have a path to the clearing memorized. It gives me extra time to worry. What am I even doing? Everything about this situation is extremely not me. Heading off on my own into a dark forest without telling anyone to go meet up with a ghost. Even thinking the word ghost still makes my heart lurch. I've seen her with my own eyes and yet I still have trouble believing it. And I'm just trusting that she's not going to lead me to her lair and suck out my soul or something. I feel like Gretel, and I'm not even cautious enough to leave a breadcrumb trail. But still, I keep walking. Just let it happen, Maddie. There's something exciting in being on my own and doing something without Tara. I can't remember the last time I had a secret from her, at least not a big one. Not telling her about the ghost girl feels a little bit like rebellion. I feel like I deserve something exciting that's all my own. She and Morgan can go do whatever. I doubt Tara will even notice that I'm not around. And even if she does, it's something that she needs to get used to. I've tried to show her how to cut a video or frame a shot lots of times. And it's her own fault if she still doesn't get it. Just like it's her own fault that she's missing out now. Well, I mean, kinda true. As I approach the clearing, I slow down a little. My usual trepidation overtakes me once again as I contemplate just how reckless this is. There's absolutely no guarantee that the girl isn't dangerous, that I'll walk out of these woods alive. Normally, I'd chastise Tara for following her gut instinct, which probably 70%, which dictates probably 70% of her decisions. Yet, that's all I have to go off of right now, the feeling that I'm safe with the ghost girl, that she won't harm me. I cross the threshold of trees and into the clearing, just like the other times. It's serenely quiet. Even my past footsteps are gone, erased by the wind or snowfall. I'm here. Somehow I feel like she already knows. The forest swallows my words, returning to frozen, pristine silence. Soundlessly, she steps out from behind a tree. A small smile sits on her face, though her eyes are slightly downcast. She waves, meeting my eyes with just a moment before glancing away. Hi there. My words hang in the still air. Were you waiting for me? We lock eyes again and she nods, quickly, earnestly. I hope it wasn't for too long. She shakes her head and then laughs. I'm not sure what the joke is, though. What? What's so funny? Then once she catches her breath, she bites her lip as she ponders. After a moment, she shrugs, looking apologetic. I guess explaining a joke with gestures would be difficult. She sidles up next to me, and I fight the urge to step back. Though I've decided to trust her, my instincts still belie my nerves. But what she seems to be most interested in is the bag slung over my shoulder. She simulates opening the bag so that she could see into it. Nosy, huh? Immediately she backsteps, waving her hand in a frantic, apologetic motion. Sorry, I was just kidding. You can look. She regards me like a timid deer as I hold the bag open for her to see. Inside are a couple of books that I picked up in the village this morning. Sorry, I noticed my phone light up, and I just feel like I checked to make sure that nothing's exploding. Anyway, I hold up the first one, small and square and baby blue. I got a really strange look from the person who runs the bookstore because of this one. It's a book of baby names. Her eyes go wide and she grasps at her belly, then points at me. It takes a second to understand what she means, and for some reason I feel my face flush. No, I'm not pregnant, but I thought maybe you could use it to show me your name, if it's a name that would be... Before I can finish my sentence, she zoomed back over to me, all sense of personal space once again discarded. She clasps her hands, a fiery look in her eyes, and hops up and down. Frankly, it's adorable. Guess you're a fan. Okay, cool. She eyes the book hungrily. She must be really excited to share her name with me. It's a little exciting for me, too. It's nice to see someone so happy about being with me. I fight to keep an overzealous grin off my face. Okay, let's see. I look around. Aside from the trees and snow, there isn't much. I wonder if there's something about this place in particular that the girl likes. Is there some place that we could sit down? It feels a little weird just to keep standing. Finger on her chin, she ponders. Then she turns and points towards the woods even further in. I could tell from the look in her eyes that she's uncertain. I swallow a lump in my throat. I've come this far after all. Sure, that's fine. Lead the way. She does so, but never gets too far from my side. Every few steps she glances over at me as if making sure I'm still there. That feels a little backwards to me, but in a nice way. I don't really feel compelled to break the silence either. Of course, part of that is because any conversation would be one-sided. But also, she lacks content. She's just happy to be here. I am too. The silence doesn't feel vast and overwhelming like it has with Tara. It feels warm. That's nice. Before too long, I realize what our destination is. This is nearly the same path that Morgan took us down a couple dusks ago. I recognize some of the more grotesquely warped trees. We're going to that church. Eyes wide, she nods, probably surprised that I know of it. One of the villagers showed it to us a few days ago, me and my friend. It feels weird just to call Tara my friend. Usually I'm the one talking to someone about Tara, they've met her. The girl just nods yet again. As we reach the edge of the trees and the church itself comes into sight, I look around for traces of the monster we saw days before. There are none to be seen though, no snapped or toppled trees. No footsteps as deep as I am tall. Much like the girl beside me, there's no trace of its existence. I look over to the door of the church where she's patiently waiting for me. Once again, I fight back all my fears and hesitations and head for the door too. It's too late to turn back now. Don't fight it, Maddie! Don't fight it! It's a good thing. The door is still slightly ajar from our visit days ago. A thin trail of snow powders the entryway, but otherwise the church is dry. It's still unnaturally warm. I wonder if it has to do with the girl, too. From the way she walks, I could tell she's familiar with the place. She heads to the front, stopping just shy of the altar, which she turns around to face me. Being back here is a little unnerving, and I slowly approach her. Though she hasn't given me any reason to be suspicious, the image of those monstrous eyes is ingrained in my memory. But this time, there's no howling wind or earth-shaking footsteps, just the one girl waiting patiently. I give her a smile as I sit down on one of the pews near the front. It's hewn from stone, smooth and rigid. She takes a seat right beside me. Normally, being this close to strangers makes me uncomfortable, but with her, I don't really mind. Part of it is, of course, the fact that I can't feel her at all, but the other part is that it feels kind of pleasant to sit together like this. I hastily push that thought from my mind. She's a ghost. She is literally transparent and insubstantial. I rummage through the bag and grab the book of baby names. Okay, so first, she bounces up and down with anticipation as I tear off the plastic cling wrap and stuff it in the tote bag. Is the first letter early in the alphabet? She nods and holds up one finger. I, L? She shakes her head. She touches her index fingers together and uses her middle finger to cross between them. O and A. Enthusiastic nodding. I flip to the first couple pages of the book. Right in the middle of the A is the first name I spot is Amber. Impatiently, she leans over at me and motions to go further back towards the start. I turn these pages slowly, giving her time to scan. On the very first page, she holds out a hand to stop and points. She's practically hanging over my shoulder to show me. Abigail. Your name is Abigail. She gives me the biggest, most radiant grin I have ever seen as she nods. Her joy is infectious, and I can't help but smile too. Abigail. I repeat it, and she looks even more joyful. A beam of light breaks through the glass window, illuminating dust motes that make it look as if she's sparkling. We lock eyes, and I feel my breath catch in my throat. The look in her eyes, pure, unadulterated happiness, is something I've never seen before. They shine with tears, the good kind. The kind that bring out the color of her eyes, the radiant kind. I didn't know I could make someone happy like this. I quickly look away, back to the now irrelevant book on my lap. Anyway, Abigail. I had a couple of questions, is that okay? Abigail nods. So, maybe this is kind of rude to ask, but are you a ghost or are you something else? Abigail closes her eyes and with a sad smile nods. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the appropriate response to something like that is. Then, are you from Eisenfeld? Nod. Do you know a girl there called Morgan? She shakes her head. That makes sense. I'm sure Morgan would have mentioned her before if so. So have you, been a ghost for a long time then? I cringe a little as I ask. It seems, mean? I don't know. It seems mean. Although I'm not entirely sure what proper etiquette is for this kind of conversation. To answer my question, she nods again. Do you know how long? A shrug. She holds up 2 fingers, then 2 fists. 200? Another shrug and a nod. 200 years. I murmur it to myself, it's in slight disbelief. It could be more. I doubt she's been keeping track of every day. The world out there, the world I come from, it may as well be another planet for her. I'm sorry. It's incomprehensible to me. I can't fathom that much time passing, unable to talk to anyone. How lonely that must be. She closed her eyes yet again. Although I've been interpreting her silence as serene, I wonder if that's how she feels. These yes or no questions are practically the extent of what I can ask her. There's still such a gulf between who she is and what I know of her, centuries worth of solitude. In all that time, have you ever spent time like this with someone else? Without opening her eyes and looking at me, she shakes her head again. I'm the only one? Nod. I fall silent too, my head still reeling. There are so many things that I want to ask and want to know. How did you die? Why did her spirit stick around? Does she know about the thing we saw in the snow? Why am I the first person she's shown herself to? But there's no way she could answer, and even if she could, I wonder if she'd want to. Is it implied to remind a ghost that they're dead? It's morbidly funny to me that these are the questions I have to ask myself. Tara would love this. I pushed that thought out of my head too. Tara's not here right now, it's just me and Abigail. Would you like me to read that other book? Her grin returns, the moment of melancholy dispelled. Seems I made the right call in changing the subject. I show her the cover before I crack it open, enjoying the new book smell. This is a book I read a lot when I was younger. It's about a girl who wants to be a hero, so she goes on a quest with her best friend to prove herself. It's a little childish, I guess, but maybe you'd like to read it? Abigail claps her hands and nods. I have a feeling that I could read the dictionary to her and she'd be satisfied, but I don't mention that. Okay, I smooth a crease and open to the first page. Once Upon a Time. It's a story that I could recite by heart. My mom used to read it to me when I was a little girl, and it was one of the books that I used to learn to read. I was both surprised and excited that there was a copy in Eisenfeld's bookstore. I settled into an easy cadence. I'm assuming it's cadence. I settle into an easy cadence of reading, though I'm not sure. I'm not used to reading out loud. It starts to feel pretty natural after only a couple of pages. Like my mom used to, I give all the characters different voices. Fun fact, little quick detour. My mom also did that when I was little, and my mom it was always like distinguishable without her doing like a full-on impression, but it was always distinguishable when someone new was talking, and it was always super fascinating to me, especially as a kid, but as an adult too, because I don't really have that ability. I mean, I don't like sometimes I specifically can give a character a voice if I'm just reading. I've done that for YouTube, I think, on different, like maybe it was visual novels, or I feel like there's been times where I read something specifically in a voice. And so I can do that, but it wasn't the same. It's not the same as my mom. My mom can do it, and it's way more natural. It's hard to describe. Anyway. Okay, all the different characters. Okay, I don't have quite the range my mom does, but Abigail seems to enjoy it all the same. Literally same! Exactly, that's exactly it. She smiles and laughs in all the right places. She makes my heart warm to see how much... It makes my heart warm to see how much she's enjoying it. Her eyes are closed yet again, but she looks quite content. As we finish Chapter 2, Abigail scoots a little bit closer and rests her head near my shoulder. I pause mid-sentence surprised, but resume just a second later. Though I can't feel her there, the sentiment is clear. I keep reading. Sometimes when I glance down, I can see that her eyes are open, reading along. Her lips mouth the same words I am. One time she catches me looking and blushes, but I just smile and continue going. After we finish Chapter 4, I finally pause. My mouth is dry and my jaw is starting to hurt a little bit. I must have been reading out loud for close to an hour. Man, that's like oddly the same though. My throat is getting a little bit dry, and we have been reading just a little bit over an hour, funnily enough. So that's oddly in time with some of my own issues right now. Anyway. Even though I stop, Abigail doesn't sit up or open her eyes. Her hand rests on my arm, and I set the book aside. Do ghosts need to sleep? That's another question I can ask, but maybe at a different time. Right now, I'm happy to let her pretend. Quietly, I hum a song. It's something from the radio, a title I can't remember, but that's always stuck in my head. I'm extremely off-key, I'm sure, but I don't care. It just feels right. And well, Abigail's not gonna know the difference. She doesn't know what song that is. When I stop, she finally opens her eyes and sits back up. As we gaze at each other, she mouths two words that I don't have to be good at reading lips to decipher. Thank you. No problem. I hope you like the story. At first she claps, then she places one hand over her heart. I laugh, flattered, but also a little embarrassed. I think that's all I can do today, but we should read more sometime. If you want to, I mean. I already know the answer, but she gives me an emphatic nod all the same. Okay. It's a promise. She touches her heart again and I smile. I should probably head back to the cabin soon. People will start to get suspicious if I'm gone for too long. Abigail cocks her head like a now curious. I haven't told my friends about you yet. It's sort of like our secret, I guess. And I want to keep it that way for a little longer. She smiles in agreement. Yeah, man, you don't want Tara coming in on this. This is special. This is special for Maddie and Abigail. Like, Tara and Morgan are clearly doing their own thing right now. Like, ignore them, okay? Once it starts getting dark, we say our goodbyes and part ways at the church. Same as when we first met, she watches me go until she vanishes from sight. As I head back towards the cabin, my head is swimming. Or maybe drowning? Yeah, you know, one or the other. It's hard to think of anything but Abigail, all alone in the middle of the forest for centuries. What's her story? I want to know, but I doubt I ever will. Yet I'm already looking forward to seeing her again, even though in the back of my mind, I'm aware that Tara and I will only be here a few more weeks. Sad face. It seems almost cruel, knowing that this is all so short-lived. If I were her, would I rather have a few weeks of happiness just to lose it again, or never have anything at all? Man, that's hard to say. I don't know. I go back and forth. I go back and forth on that one. The question makes my head and heart hurt. The walk back feels like it goes by much quicker than my journey to the clearing and then the church. As I get closer to the cabin, I can see that the windows are dark. Tara must be in town or out with Morgan somewhere. I wonder if she noticed that I was gone. My musing is interrupted by a sudden sound of footsteps in the snow. The mayor steps out from behind a tree, just like Abigail did earlier. Good evening, Madison. Evening, Miss Mayor. Where have you been? I freeze. Her tone is sharp with no pretense of being conversational. Her glare is even sharper. Does she know about Abigail or about the forest spirit? Surely she would have mentioned it if so. My mind reels while I stall for time. Out for a walk in the forest. I'm bad at lying, so I try to tell just half-truths. I can see that. Where'd you go? Around. I was just walking around, needed the fresh air. Alone? Where's your friend or my daughter? With each question she asks, she takes a nearly imperceptible step closer. I shrug, trying to look indifferent. I don't think it's working. Not sure. Tara and I had an argument earlier. Wanted to be alone. An argument regarding what? She's far too close for comfort now, close enough that she could reach out and grab me by the throat if she wanted to. Still, I'm so taken back by the nerve of her asking about my personal issues that my voice comes out stronger than I could have hoped for. Sorry, but I'm not comfortable talking about it. The mayor regards me for a long moment. Her nostrils flare. I meet her gaze and don't look away, even though I desperately want to. I half expect her tongue to shoot out and taste the air like a snake. It feels as if she can see right through me. I'm almost certain she knows I'm hiding something from her, more than just my argument with Tara. I see. She flips her hair and walks past me, heading into the forest. Be careful, Madison. The woods are dangerous on your own. Creepy? I stand there, heart in my throat, until the sound of snow under my feet fades into silence. Shuddering, I hurry the rest of the way to the cabin. Yeah, she's so freaking creepy. Okay, so this is the first time we will have seen this as a group. So there is different points of view in this game. You do switch perspectives. And so I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry. You do switch perspectives, and I think it switches between Maddie. I believe it switches between Maddie, Tara, Morgan, and Abigail. I think are the four it switches between. And so obviously at the moment we are now Tara. So you have to get yourself in her mind frame and remember who is the one you're after. We've been obviously in Maddie's POV the whole time, so you're used to that. Also, I don't remember if there was any kind of sexual content in this. Honestly, I actually don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, like I said, I don't remember. I almost don't think so. But in case there is, I'm going to try to remember to read every sentence and make sure I'm done with it before clicking continue, because I'll have to edit it out if there's anything too risque, because I don't want to get shot by YouTube or whatever. And so I'll have to be a little bit careful. I almost don't think there was, but just in case, I'm going to be careful. Anyway, a bright burst of light jerks me awake. I groan, getting ready to toss a pillow at Maddie and demand she turn the light back off. It's so bright it hurts when I try to open my eyes. But when I do, I realize the light is coming from the window, and it's not a window I recognize. Uh-oh. Morgan is starting to stir next to me, an adorable little smile on her face. Okay, wait, I think we're... Are we good or not? Or not? Hang on, I think we're okay. Okay, I think we're okay so far, everybody. I think we're okay. Okay, we're good. I say I'm gonna include it. We're fine so far. Okay, so there was sexual content. My brain was catching up, but it's nothing bad. So we're good so far. I'm really hoping this is all we get. I mean, part of me is hoping this is all we get to. Okay, so I don't have to edit anything, because that would be ideal. Anyway. Morgan is starting to stir next to me, an adorable little smile on her face. It's so cute that for a moment it distracts me from the fact that she's completely naked. It takes another second for me to realize that I am too. I yank the covers up to my chest to, well, cover myself. Memories of last night start to come back in bits and pieces. We've been going over notes about something, and admittedly I might have gotten a little flirty, but next thing I know we're kissing, books are on the floor, I hear papers crimpling underneath my butt. And once I said yes, she couldn't even wait to get to the bed before she started undressing me. And it's not that I'm complaining, it was definitely the last possible way I thought she'd respond. At least now I remember why I'm sore. It isn't long before Morgan opens her eyes as well. The rest of her face doesn't move as she wakes up. She sleeps with the same blank face that she has when she's awake. Good morning, Tara. Her voice seems a little different. Softer, maybe? I have no idea, but it's kind of nice. Hey, yeah, good morning. I cringe at the sound of my own voice. That was way too loud. I didn't do a better job at keeping my cool. How'd you sleep? Better than I have in a long time. I smile. Although you do snore, loudly. I try not to let my smile break. I mean, she's right, but only when I lay on my back. I try to think back on a long list of awkward morning afters and pick a good comeback, but everything grinds to a halt as soon as I feel her lips press against my side. Sorry, I read that in slow motion because I'm watching very carefully in case I need to edit anything. And any second I'm expecting to have to cut away, so that's why. It's just a tiny peck, the kind I'd give a cute fan, but she also blows a tiny puff of hot air under my skin that makes me shiver. I feel my face turning as red as my hair, and I know a comeback's not coming. Or happening, sorry, I think. Tara, you okay? I need to say something to get back on top of this mess, but all I can do is stare down at her, those bright green eyes, the soft face, the messy orange hair. Tara? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking that, well, you're cute. I mean, she's not wrong. Hey, I've had worse lines. I can't see her face, but I think I hear her chuckle or something like it. I probably should get up too, but I can't help taking a minute to stare. Maddie always gets mad at me for being thirsty, but I think I earned it this time. Her curves, her muscles, she's like someone asked me every last detail about what my type was, then turned her real. This village is a dream come true. My clothes are spread across the floor, and it takes me a minute to hunt them all down once I'm out of bed. Actually, that's how they usually are at home too. I've got more important things than clothes to keep in my dresser. Morgan's already dressed by the time I get everything together, with her hair back in its usual pigtails. Cute as they are, I kind of miss how it looked down. So do I. So do I. Anyway, okay, so we're good. I think we're good. I don't think there's going to be any editing required. I thought I did remember sexual content, but I also thought I remembered, like, it didn't being explicit, you know, because there was a few scenes I had to edit out of Highway Blossoms, and so that's where my head was at. But obviously I think we're good, so that's awesome because that means I don't have to edit, which is easier for me. Anyway, okay, really quick though, I am going to grab my usual evening Rockstar. And I don't like to have it too late because otherwise I'm awake when I shouldn't be. But honestly, my throat's getting dry and my mouth is dry, and so I would like something to help, you know, give me a shot at being able to survive. So give me just uno momento. If I'm fast enough, maybe I can do this without having to edit away. We'll see. You know, which really, I don't actually know what my problem is, because it's not like editing is a giant pain in the butt or anything anymore. So it's like, yeah, I guess really it is anymore, because before it was kind of a pain, because previously, my editing software was crap, and my new editing software is a lot better. So really, editing is not nearly as difficult as it once was, and so it's not like it's a giant pain or anything, so I don't really know what my problem is. I realized the crackle of me opening my Rockstar was probably incredibly loud for you. That's my bad. Okay, now I got something cold, that'll help, and give me something that I can actually drink. So anyway, hey, so, something wrong? Your mom isn't home, right? Pretty sure she won't be happy if she sees me coming out of your room first thing in the morning. We made enough noise last night that she'd know anyway. I don't think she's gonna do anything about it. Oh, I feel like I'm burning up, but her expression is the same as ever. She's not even trying to be smooth, and she's still better at it than I am, and I'm already pretty good. Great, yeah, cool. Glad we don't have to worry. I'm gonna make some coffee for us. That's my bra, by the way. No wonder it felt so loose. She's out the door, leaving me to search for more clothing and think about the conversation Morgan and I are gonna have when she gets back. Oh boy. Sorry. I'm still thinking about what I want to say when she returns with the coffees, already chugging hers down. I usually make it strong, but I put plenty of cream and sugar in yours, so you should be fine. I normally take it black, actually. I saw your daily routine video. I know how you take your coffee. I don't even know why I'm bothering with the usual cool routine at this point. I should just accept that I'm beat. I take a tiny sip of the coffee and nearly fall back down onto bed. Even with cream and sugar, this is the strongest thing I've ever tasted. She drinks this black? Is it too much? I put some liquor in it. I can put some liquor in it if you want. Isn't it like 8 in the morning? Yeah, why do you ask? I sigh and take another bitter sip. The last thing I need right now is alcohol. Hey, so I think we need to talk. Sure, about what? I'm not sure if she doesn't know or doesn't care about what I'm gonna say, but from the way she's acted so far, pretty sure it's the second one. Look, you're a really great person, and I really like hanging out with you, and I had a great time last night. I know. She needs to stop making me blush. I probably look the same way Mads does every time I try to introduce her to a cute girl. I just want to make sure we're clear on what this was all about. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I mean, I'm not really the dating type, and I'm gonna be leaving in a month. I'm happy to do stuff like this as long as it's... Tara, She doesn't sound frustrated or upset. If anything, her voice is softer. We talked about this exact thing last night. You're cute, you're fun, and I really enjoyed having sex with you. But that's all this is, and neither of us expect or want anything different. You don't have to give me any excuses. Blunt as ever. She takes another sip of coffee as I breathe a sigh of relief. All that worrying for nothing. Great, awesome, cool, yeah, I'm glad that's settled then. I should feel relieved, relaxed, and all that good stuff. With the rough part out of the way, I can go right back to being as intrepid and charming as always. So why do I feel like I'm the one who got let down here? This kind of thing shouldn't bother me, even if it didn't go the way I'm used to. That's why I hate taking time to think about things. I don't get this. I don't get this. You're like, hey, I want to sleep with somebody, but I don't want it to mean anything. I really don't get that at all. Like, personally, like, if I'm having sex with someone, it's because it's supposed to mean something. Like, and I realize, whatever, I'm old-fashioned that way, alright? I'm old-fashioned that way, but that's just how I think, man. And, like, yeah, I don't get that. The whole just, you know, hey, I just want to get laid, but I don't want to have it mean anything. For me, that doesn't sound fun at all. Like, I'm like, it better mean something, otherwise, what was the point? Like, what was the point? Anyway, sorry. Ignore me and my old school complaints. Okay. Also trying to drink my Rockstar. Nothing hits the spot. I think it's a placebo thing at this point. Anyway. So, I think I already read all that. Yes, okay. So, did you make that sweater yourself? Morgan's eyes widened at my question. It looks like I found a good way to move on. I did, actually. My ex showed me how to knit a few years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. It's a nice way to pass the time. If you want, I can make you something to take home when you're done here. That'd be super cool. Everyone I know wears coats like Maddie's or one of those big puffy marshmallow coats. I'm sure some hand-knit stuff would break the mold. The fact that you insist on doing investigating in nothing but a light jacket made me assume you didn't like coats in general. Maybe I was just wanting to get on with the hip wool fashion trend. I catch her smiling in between sips. She might act different, but I get the feeling that we're on the same wavelength for some things. I mean, obviously, since we ended up together, but still. Well, not together, of course, but I thought it was because of your shirt. You wear that same moon shirt in every vlog you do. I didn't expect it to be the same way in real life. It was actually Maddie's idea, believe it or not. Something about a visual brand for the sake of the show. I figured my winning smile would be enough, but I mean, as long as people like it. I didn't realize she was that invested in the show. I figured she didn't care that much. Ouch. Hearing her mention how distant Maddie seems is a pretty painful reminder about how things have fallen apart between us. She used to be. Back when we started, she was a lot more invested in the whole thing. We've been inseparable since high school, and I figured she was really excited to keep that bond going strong. That's pretty incredible. I don't think I've had any friendships lasted more than a year. I realize that she hasn't mentioned a single friend since we got here. I guess claiming your cat talks to you probably doesn't score you points with anyone other than me. Yeah, it's been like 10 years or something. I don't tell her I told you this, but we actually met because we were both total goths. That is funny to picture. I want to see Maddie as a goth. That sounds hot. Anyway, sorry. I jump when Morgan suddenly bursts into laughter. I've only known her for about a week, but it feels weirdly unlike her. Probably because it's the most emotion she's shown since we met, and that includes last night. Oh dear! Whoa! Like, that's the most emotion, including last night included? Yikes. Anyway, can't imagine Maddie walking around with raccoon eyes and dyed hair. You have no idea. She was goth enough to put me to shame. Always talking about the darkness in her soul, chilling with all the other cool goth kids, calling herself Raven. It was great. You were part of a group? Did you keep in touch with any of them? I hope at least one of them kept the look. My smile fades as I look away from her. She couldn't have known from asking that would bring back bad memories, so I don't blame her. But the memories are still there. Not really. Most of them stopped talking to me when I told them I was trans, and the rest bailed as soon as I started to actually transition. Maddie was the only one who really stuck up for me. I'll never forget that. Morgans puts down her now empty mug, and I'm not even halfway through mine. So sorry, Tara, I didn't mean to... No, forget it. It's seriously okay. The whole thing is ancient history now. That isn't a lie. I feel a hell of a lot better after the whole thing now that I know I'm doing way better than any of them. I could tell Morgan doesn't buy it, though. Better switch the subject. Anyway, after the two of us were inseparable all through high school, we even picked the same college, so it'd be easier to stay in touch. The only time our friendship was ever on the rocks was, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. I try not to grin when I see Morgan's eyes widen. Got him. You wouldn't say that if you weren't going to tell me. Well, I don't know. She leaves her mug on the table and moves closer to me. I definitely saw her smile a second there. The Tara I know would never pass up a chance to tell a story. Well, if you insist. Maddie and I actually dated once for a few weeks back when we first started college. Everyone we knew was pairing off, so we figured we should try it too. It's our secret shame. I'm not surprised. The two of you would make a terrible couple. Jeez, blunt much? You're not wrong though. It nearly killed our friendship. Thankfully, we called it off and went back to being friends. Haven't had any trouble since. Until now. Yeah, until now. So much for lightening the mood. I don't know, I guess her deciding to walk away from everything we built together doesn't exactly make me feel jazzed about our friendship. Her having different priorities doesn't have anything to do with friendship. What, like going back to school? She hated school. Either that's some bullshit excuse, or she just hates working on Terranormal even more. She was talking about coming back. Having real proof seems to have changed her mind. And then what? She goes along with it for a few more months and gets sick of it? I can't deal with that again. I could tell I'm getting louder, but I don't care. I haven't had a chance to get let any of this out since it happened. Morgan, of course, doesn't even flinch. The thing is, now she's acting like she wants to go in on the action again. Am I really supposed to believe that she wants to commit to this? But I'm not an idiot. It's not like I'm ignoring the fact that she keeps running off to the woods to be by herself. I'm supposed to be just cool with that? Tara, I'm so sick of all this bullshit. Maybe you'd be better off without... Tara! I jump as her voice drowns mine out completely. The burst of emotion isn't funny. It's honestly kind of terrifying. Stop. Just stop. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't want Maddie to leave the show, but you're refusing to listen to her when she talks about coming back. You don't want to lose your friendship, but you're freezing her out when she tries to make connection again. I love your show. I love your show. You know I do. But there are more important things in your life than talking about Bigfoot in front of a camera. Holy shit, what the hell was that? She just shot through my bullshit with some kind of force-filling therapist. How am I supposed to respond to that? All I can do is sit back down on the bed and let it wash over me. She sits down next to me and takes my hand in hers. She gives it a little squeeze, and I squeeze back. I can already feel myself starting to calm down. When Morgan speaks again, her voice is in its normal flatness. Talk to her. Tell her how much you feel and what you need. You can't spend your whole time with me and expect her to feel appreciated. I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you out though. You're the whole reason we're here. Plus, I really like spending time with you. I do too, but we'll have plenty of time together. You're here for an entire month. Yeah, of course. The word month makes me feel a little pang in my chest. For some reason, I don't want to think about how temporary this is. Oh, I don't know, Tara. Maybe it's because you actually care about Morgan. Just a thought. It's almost like it wasn't completely pointless, huh? Sorry. Anyway, like I said, I don't get it, and the whole attitude of just like, hey, I just want to get laid and move on. I don't get it, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. It feels so flaky, and I just hate it. Anyway, sorry. Gee, I don't know, Tara. Anyway, I like overhand to take another sip of coffee. It's barely lukewarm now, and I consider just spitting it back into the cup. That definitely wouldn't be a good look, though. You want me to go? Want me to take you back to the cabin? I think I'm gonna do a little more investigating here first. Give myself time to think about what I want to say to Mads. That's a good idea. Hey, first time for everything. She lets out another little laugh. It's not nearly as big as her earlier one, but it's really nice to hear it after all that heavy stuff. I'll go set up shop then. Come see me when you want to ride back. You got it. I stand and stretch, scanning the room one more time to see if I'm forgetting anything. Wait, are those my panties? Yeah, you're wearing mine. I try to will myself not to blush, determined not to let her get one more fluster in. Shit, sorry, I can change real quick. It's fine, you can wear him. You can give him back when you're done. My cheeks are burning again, so much for that. Yeah, cool, thanks, guess I'll see you later then. Sure, you know where to find me. Without thinking, I lean forward and press my lips against hers. They're soft, somehow not nearly dried out by the cold air as mine are. Wait, why am I doing this? I jerk my head away, expecting to be met with an angry glare, but all I see is the corners of her mouth twitch up for a split second before she's back to neutral. Could be worse, right? Either way, it's definitely time for me to get the hell out of here. Again, you do these things because you care. Even against what you think is your better judgment, you care, and that's why. Anyway, sorry. I head for the door, but something stops me before I actually leave. Thank you. Anytime. I don't know what I'm thanking her for, and I'm not even sure she knows either. Well. That's because your heart is in the right place, even if your stupid head doesn't know any better. I'm out the door and back into the village square, doing my best to leave my confusion behind me. I've got more important things to think about right now. I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna say to Mads. I've got to think about what I'm going to say to Mads. I'm telling her I'm sorry for being an idiot and that I don't want to screw this up. I don't want to screw things up more than it already has. But as I think about that, I realize that I've got one more problem when it comes to her. If she finds out that I slept with our host, she's going to kill me. Yeah, I mean, Shit, you right. Hey, Morgan, there we go. See, I told you perspective switches. Anyway, so we are in Morgan's shoes now. So here we go. The cabin comes into view. It's warm and casts a glow on the snow. I keep my steady pace. It's been a while since Tara and I talked. Things still aren't fixed. They've improved. She's getting Maddie's help filming now, but I can still see that there's distance between them. It doesn't help that Maddie keeps choosing to stay behind when we go to the village. Her excuses are always flimsy, but Tara doesn't push it. I'm not sure she wants to. I'm not entirely sure what to do. I've never expected this to be easy, but now it's gotten complicated in a way that I couldn't have predicted. I wish I could help, but I'm afraid that intervening anymore than I already have would make things worse. Maddie still doesn't trust me despite everything. I have to believe it's not too late. I need both of them fully committed before I can tell them why they're here, why they're really here. At the cabin, I enter without knocking. Ooh, Morgan has a secret! It again. I've tried it like 6 times, Mads. I don't know what else you're expecting here. Hello there. They both look up when they see from what they're doing. It's not a surprising scene. Tara's hunched over her laptop in the living room with Maddie stands nearby looking ready to hit her. I don't think either of them noticed me entering. Hi. Hey! While Maddie seems annoyed at my interruption, Tara seems genuinely happy. Whether that's for the distraction or because it's me, I'm not sure. I walk over and sit down beside Tara, placing myself between her and Maddie. Check this out. She angles her laptop so that I can see it and presses play on the video. There's some distorted noise, but the screen stays black. What am I supposed to be looking at? Exactly. Somehow exasperated, Maddie throws up her hands and storms off into the kitchen, banging around the cupboards without actually doing anything. This was the footage we took the other night, remember with the forest and with a spirit and stuff? I remember. Yeah, well, it was totally fine a few days ago. We watched it a billion times, so you know as well as I do. Right, it was perfectly visible then. And now, she plays the clip again, nothing but noise, it's worthless now. So what happened? Beats me, that's what we're trying to figure out. Maddie slams a cupboard particularly loudly. What happened, what Maddie thinks happened, is that the file got corrupted somehow, either when you exported it or when it was transferring or something. But it was working fine before. Seriously, ask Morgan. She points at me. I wish you wouldn't bring me into it like this, since it'll seem like I'm taking a side. The video did work before, yeah. Great, that helps a lot. Isn't there a backup somewhere? This was supposed to be the backup. I thought I'd uploaded it to our server too, but I guess the Wi-Fi cut out, so that didn't actually happen. Tara bites her lip. That one's on me. That one's on me. I'm expecting another sardonic reply from Maddie, but to my surprise, she sits down across from us and sighs. Well, we can't change it now. It seems that Tara's admission of guilt, even partial, helped her calm down some. Was that the only footage that was affected? I didn't check. Can't see why anything else would be screwed up, though. We just got unlucky. Super unlucky. That's a bit of an understatement. Without the footage, we don't even have anything to show. I want to tell her that there'll be plenty more opportunities before filming the spirit, but likely other equally remarkable creatures. Oh, and likely other equally remarkable creatures, but I know that she won't believe me, yet. Galadura warned me that this would probably happen, as if I hadn't already known, but Galadura also didn't help my case at all, since she said she didn't know if she could trust them yet. I wish she would have told me that before I made a fool of myself in front of them both. Tara laughs, but it sounds forced. Guess we'll have to take some new footage then. Morgan, you don't have any other mystical spirits sitting around that we could film, do you? Funnily enough, I do. I just smile, though, going along with the joke. For some reason, Maddie tugs at her collar and looks away out the window. Probably she's more uncomfortable around me than I thought. Or perhaps, not probably. Can I borrow your laptop? I'll see if I can move the file to my computer, maybe salvage something. You really think that'll work? No, but I'd like to try. Sure thing. She lifts the laptop over me and passes it to Maddie. Thanks, I'll be in my room. Let me know if you need anything. She leaves, taking Tara's laptop with her. She pushes her bedroom door, but doesn't close it all the way. Beside me, Tara places her hand over mine. It's not anything that Maddie would be able to see from her room. I'm not sure why Tara's so insistent on keeping our relationship a secret. Still, yes, secret. Like, secret my butt. Like, both of you, like, started this whole shindig when they were initially starting all of their research by themselves. Like, Maddie heard it from her room. Like, there's nothing that's a secret here. Maddie is definitely aware. I mean, I don't know about how far, but, like, at least, maybe she, at least, at minimum, suspects something. Anyway. Oh, sorry, I think I inhaled something. Right as I was taking a breath to keep reading. Still, I appreciate the gesture. Of everything that's happened since the two of them arrived here, getting close to Tara like this has been the most unexpected. It seems like things are a bit better between the two of you. Did you talk? I make sure to keep my voice low. Not yet. I was going to, but first Mads wasn't home, and then she was shut in her room all day once she got back. I was gonna bring it up today, but then all this stuff happened. At least the two of you were talking a little. She must be tired. She must be feeling bad too. Maybe. You should have heard it before you got here, though. Sorry. Nah, don't be. It's like you said, this is on both of us. You really don't know what happened to the footage? I promise I won't tell Maddie anything. No, it's 100% legit. It was working fine, and then it wasn't. I didn't even drop my computer or spill water on it this time. That's so strange. You're telling me. Mads is convinced I did something to screw it up, though. I have I'm gonna say nagging because I feel like that makes more sense. I have a nagging suspicion in the back of my mind, but I don't want to bring it up yet. I don't want to alarm Tara if I can help it. Has anyone... Right in the middle of my sentence, the heater in the corner of the room makes a sizzling noise and then dies. Tara and I both stare at it. Did you see that? I did. God! Clutching her head in her hands, Tara gets up and goes to inspect the heater. She looks around and underneath it, although it's clear she has no idea what she's actually looking for. While her back is turned, I take a moment to peer out the window, scanning for anyone or anything out of the ordinary. I don't see anything. What happened? Heater died? Check it out. Wait, you're kidding me. I wish. Already the cold is starting to set in. Was it a short circuit or something? I'm glad that she didn't default to blaming Tara for this. My suspicion gets a little stronger too. No clue. Morgan and I were sitting here when it suddenly died. Didn't give any warning or anything. It was a lot like she trails off. She didn't need to finish a sentence. I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing. Like the footage. She says it anyway. None of us say anything. Then Maddie chuckles nervously. That's a pretty weird coincidence. Do you think that, like, they're connected somehow? What, the heater and the footage? There's no way they could be. It's just bad luck. Maybe. She gives a look that says that she doesn't think it's random. I'm inclined to agree. Any luck with saving the video so far? Not yet, but I just started. Give me a bit. Right. I'm gonna go grab a blanket. You want one, Morgan? No, thanks. What the hell? 2 seconds after she entered her bedroom, Tara yells and pops back out. The heater in my room is dead too. What? Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. Come look if you want. Maddie and I both hurry into Tara's room. Sure enough, the heater in there is as dead as the one in the living room. Were they on the same breaker? The cabin must have ancient wiring, right? No, it was renovated a couple years ago. Is the one in your room working, Mads? Without waiting for an answer, Tara pushes past and goes to look, ignoring Maddie's feeble clamor against barging in. We follow behind Tara yet again. In Maddie's room, the heater's running fine. That's so unfair! Maddie frowns too, looking perplexed. I don't get it. Why just in here? That's a pretty weird coincidence. Tara does a poor imitation of Maddie's voice. It is! What else do you want me to say? Grumbling, Tara leaves the room without giving an actual answer. Maddie doesn't try to stop her and stares at her perfectly functional heater. I shut the bedroom door behind me as I leave. Okay, tell me I'm not crazy. Something weird is going on. You're not crazy. This definitely isn't a coincidence. You say that like you know what's going on. I can feel a pit opening up in my stomach. I've never been good with words, and I'm not sure how to phrase everything I'm about to tell her, much less how she'll take it. I must struggle for far too long because I can see Tara's expression go from mopey to concerned. Hey, are you okay? I was just kidding, but like, do you actually know what's up? I press a finger to my lips and point to Tara's room. Her eyes go wide, but she nods. I lead the way with her following close behind. We can talk now. Tara looks like she's going to explode. Now? What the hell? That was like something out of a spy movie. Shh, not so loud. I listen for any indication that Maddie followed behind us or is eavesdropping, but her door never opens. Tara watches, waiting for me to elaborate, but I can tell that it's taking every ounce of self-control she has to not barrage me with questions. It's understandable. Okay, bear with me, because I'm not sure how to say some of this. Oh, sorry, I hit enter, but I did catch it in time, so we're still good. Nearly vibrating with excitement, Tara nods. I take a deep breath. I don't think all of these malfunctions are a coincidence. I think they're intentional sabotage and that my mother's to blame. Her eyes get as wide as saucers. Your mom? Yes, and I also think that Maddie might be involved too. It's not her fault at all. I'm afraid that my mother might have gotten to her first. She might not even know it. Got to her how? As in, she's not in control of her actions. She might not even be aware of them. You mean like mind control? More or less, yes. She stares at me and then starts to laugh. She gets up and paces around the room, her hands flying in useless motions as she laughs. Okay, you're screwing me, right? Mind control? Maddie? I'm not messing with you, I'm dead serious. I can't blame her for being incredulous. It's a lot to take in at once, and the rest of what I have to say is even stranger. But if there's anyone who will believe me, who will believe the truth, it's Tara. Her laugh becomes a whistle as she calms down. She takes a second to compose herself and then sits on the bed next to me. Okay, mind control, go on. Like I said, I doubt Maddie's even aware. It's probably more like sleepwalking for her, but it would make sense. You said she's been spending a lot of time away from the cabin, right? and that she doesn't like to talk about where she's been. Plus the footage being damaged and then the heater's dying, it makes sense. You gotta have to sell me on this more. I wouldn't say that makes sense. I wouldn't say that makes sense. What's the point of it? Why would your mom do that, and how? Like we haven't even approached the point of making sense. I know, I'll explain. I'm trying to remain calm myself, but there's a nervousness that I've never felt before. This is my first time actually talking about this with someone else. No matter how many times I had imagined this conversation and rehearsed it in my head, it's nothing like real life. My mom isn't really my mom. To be frank, she's not even human. Not anymore. I pause waiting to see how Tara takes it. No reaction. I doubt that anything I'm saying even registers as a possibility to her. My only choice is to go through it all and hope that she believes me by the end. The person that you've met, the creature, is something else, using a human woman's body as a host. She has the whole town under a glamour, I guess, that makes them loyal to her, and she has for years, longer than I've been alive, and I think she has Maddie now too. The reason that I've sent you an email and invited you to Eisenfeld isn't because of the forest spirit or any of the other stuff, although it's related to. The reason is because I need your help. Evelyn, or the thing inside her, is going to try and kill me soon, to use me as a new host within the next few weeks. You were the only people in the world who I could think of who might believe me. There wasn't anyone else I could ask. She knows that too, which is why she's trying to get rid of you now, ruin your trip, make you want to leave. She wouldn't ever hurt either of you. Too many people would notice if something happened. There'd be too much unwanted attention on her. But if she could get the two of you to leave Eisenfeld, then she'd be able to proceed with her plans. I'm pretty sure that's what she's trying to do through Maddie. That's it, I guess. As I finished speaking, I looked down at my legs. I feel like a weight has been lifted off of my chest. If nothing else, I'm glad that I gotta tell someone. Even if nothing changes, at least I gotta share my story. That's the spirit. If she doesn't believe me, if she thinks I'm as crazy as Maddie does, then I guess I'm out of options. The silence stretches on, and I glance up at Tara's face. For someone usually so expressive and easy to read, her face is immutable. I can't tell what she's thinking. She just stares at me intensely, more scrutinizing than I've ever seen before. I meet her eyes, willing her to search mine and see that I'm telling the truth. I want to reach across and grab her hand. More than that, I want her to grab mine. Tara huffs, blowing a loose strand of hair that's fallen over her face. She blinks and pops her knuckles, scratches her leg, then finally she half smiles. Okay, so what do we do now? Does that mean you believe me? My breath catches in my throat, scarcely daring to believe it. She hasn't confirmed yet. She could just be playing along. Of course I do. I can't help myself. I lean forward and wrap my arms around her in a very selfish hug. I'm so sorry for dragging you into all this. She doesn't deserve any of what's going on. I brought her into my own world of problems. Her arms wrap around me without hesitation. Hey, I'm glad you did. Really? Of course. And if some other paranormal blog gets this scoop, I'd be jealous forever. We both laugh. But, I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot to take in, especially the stuff about Mads. But, if never coming here would have meant you having to deal with all this on your own, then it's a damn good thing we're here. For the first time that I can remember, I feel warm and comfortable. It's a moment that I wish could last forever. I don't deserve her support, but I'm definitely glad that I have it. Now, let's go kick your mom's ass. I laugh again. I'm glad that she's able to keep a light heart through all this. We're gonna need it. Really though, what do we do now? Pack our stuff and get out of here? You could totally crash with me and Mads, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. We'll have to get through this whole damn mind control thing first though. No, running away isn't an option. She would just take someone else instead. She has to be dealt with. You said it'll happen in a couple of weeks, right? How do you know? It'll happen on the winter solstice. It's something to do with the moon. I don't really know the specifics myself. There's not a whole lot of information to go off of. You're in luck, because investigating stuff without a real lead is my specialty. She's incorrigible, I think, and her smile is infectious. Her optimism and confidence makes me think that this might work out okay after all. There'll be plenty of time for that, I promise. Right now, I should head back home. Already? I feel like you just got here a bit ago. I know. I wish I could stay longer, but I need to start preparing right away. There's a lot that I'll need to fill you in on, but it'll take some time for me to get ready. So, like, later tonight? Probably tomorrow or the next day. Okay, I'll lie low until then. What should we do about... Her voice trails off and she nods in the direction of the rest of the cabin and Maddie. Nothing for now. Just try and act normal around her if you can. So avoid conversation as much as possible. Easy peasy. Yeah, no kidding. Sorry, sipping break. Delicious. We stand up together and Tara walks me to the front door. See? So, see you soon, I guess? Right. She leans forward suddenly, gives me another quick hug. My second one today. It's over far too quickly. Cool, I'll be waiting. I smile. Me too. Hell yeah. I'm way more about this, man. We're making progress. Stuff's happening. There's relationships. I love it. Anyway. It's always scary going home and facing the prospect of seeing Evelyn face to face. Today, though, it doesn't seem as bad. There's still a long way to go, but with Tara's help, there's a chance that everything will work out. That's more than I've ever been able to say before. Hey, and we're back to Maddie, kids. But let's be honest, in our heart of hearts, we never left her. We never left her. The skies are gray out when I wake up. I check my phone for the first time, thinking that it must still be early, but no, it's almost 10. It's the clouds that are making it so dark. We're definitely in for a lot of snow today. It looks like it could be more than any of the previous storms. That's a problem. When are you going to be able to see your girlfriend? Anyway, sighing to myself, I get out of bed and get dressed without wasting any time. There's no way I'm going to be able to see Abigail today, not with the weather as it is. I hope she won't wait up for me. That's what I was just thinking. But what about Abigail? Obviously, she's not going to freeze to death, but I'm just saying. It's frigid in the living room. I spent a while trying to fix the heater, but to no avail. I don't even know what's wrong with it. Tara must have had it pretty rough too. At least she could bundle up in blankets to keep warm. The door to her room is shut, so she's either gone or still asleep. I'm glad that things have improved between us. She seems to have a change of heart or something, because a couple of days ago she started making small talk again. Even our argument over the footage wasn't as explosive as it could have been. If it had been 3 days prior, we probably wouldn't be on speaking terms at all anymore. I make myself a bowl of cereal and have a quiet breakfast alone. Although I've gotten used to not interacting with Tara much, there are still my visits with Abigail to look forward to. Now that there's no telling how many days it'll be until the weather's cleared up enough for me to go see her again, hopefully it'll blow over quickly. It's already starting to snow a little. Just to pass the time, I move my laptop over into the living room and start an episode of a show that I've been meaning to watch. I keep one headphone out so that I'll be able to hear if Tara leaves her room. She never does. After 2 episodes, I get up and knock on her door. Unsurprisingly, there's no answer. I take a peek inside. Empty. She must be Morgan's again. At this point, it's pretty obvious that they're more than friends. I told you she suspected! Obviously. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's none of my business, of course. They're both adults and can do whatever they want. But I can't help but being a little envious. It's been more than a year since I've been on a date. Things ended sort of messily with my last girlfriend, and since then, I haven't really been looking. Working on a show kept me busy, though. Still, it wasn't that I was trying to avoid meeting anyone new. It just didn't happen. It's not like Tara. I can't talk to strangers and carry on a conversation straight away. I am right here, Maddie. I am right here. Anyway, business stuff, sure. Small talk? No way. Okay, maybe not right here. She's clearly not talking about me. Otherwise, she would have added, literally, never. There's no topic I can carry on a conversation about. That one would have been about me. Anyway, small talk? No way. I've always been a bit jealous of that. So, seeing how quickly and how naturally Morgan and Tara ended up together feels like a painful reminder of my own social inadequacies. I guess there's an expiration date on their relationship, whatever it may be, though. It's hard to believe that we're already halfway through our trip to Eisenfeld. It occurs to me that I'm in a similar situation with Abigail. Though our friendship is nothing like Morgan and Tara's, it's also time limited. That thought hurts, more than I expected it to. I wish there was some way she could come back with us, no matter how difficult it is to smuggle a ghost internationally. That's the kind of problem Tara would be great at solving if she was around. In fact, I wonder if maybe I should take this opportunity to try and mend things with her. Assuming Abigail was okay with it, I could take Tara to meet her. While not quite as dramatic as the forest spirit, having a genuine ghost on film would be a huge win for the show. It's a little funny to me that an actual ghost is mundane compared to what else we've seen. I'm not entirely convinced on the idea. There's still some appeal to keeping the news to myself for at least a little bit longer. A knock on the front door interrupts my TV viewing. Coming. Oh no! Why you? Why? I undo the latch and come face to face with Evelyn again. Good afternoon. Hi there. My previous encounter with her on the way back from the church flashes through my mind and sets me on edge. There's a man I don't recognize with her too, adding to my unease. We heard there was an issue with the heater, so we've come to fix it. Don't want you freezing to death out here. Her demeanor is a 180 from last time. I wonder which of them let her know. Maybe Tara mentioned it earlier today? Oh, thanks. That'll be a big help. Aren't you gonna let us in? I realize that I'm blocking the doorway and step back to make room. It's technically her cabin. I don't really have a right to say no. What? Oh, something boring. Yeah, sorry. The guy with her brushes past me and heads to the heater, getting right to work. Meanwhile, Evelyn and I sit down in the living room. I stare at the floor, hoping that she'll start the conversation, but she seems content to just look around the room, admiring the decorating. When she clears her throat, I flinch. Very sorry for the discontent it must have caused. Even a single night without the warmth can be most unpleasant. She stares at me intently, like she's hoping for me to catch some hidden meaning, whatever it is lost on me. It's fine, just one night. Thanks for taking care of it so fast. Of course. Are you the only one at home today? Yeah, Tara's out. I can't imagine that Evelyn doesn't know about her and Morgan, or at least the two of them have been spending so much time together. She and Morgan live in the same house, after all. But Evelyn's eyebrows raise. Is she now? My daughter said that your friend was here. She wouldn't be foolish enough to venture into the woods on her own, would she? The weather's looking quite dire. My mouth goes dry. Even Tara wouldn't be that reckless, right? I don't think so. Good. Only a fool would go out in this. As if on cue, a heavy gust of wind blows, making the whole cabin creak. Through the window, I can see the snowfall has already gotten heavier. Thick, heavy flakes mask the glass and obscure the view outside. The workman finishes up and moves closer to the couch. He still hasn't said a word since he arrived. Seems we're finished here. Do take care of Madison, and don't hesitate to call if you need help with anything else. Will do. Thanks. That was oddly nice, considering. The two of them leave as abruptly as Morgan always does. The moment the door shuts behind them, I leap up and head for the landline phone. I don't know what that was about at all, but it's obvious there's something more going on that I'm aware of, something sinister. There's a small scrap of paper jammed underneath the phone with Morgan's phone number scribbled on it. I dial and wait, praying that the weather won't render the phones useless. And then the narrator died! No, sorry, I was drinking. It rings and rings and rings, but doesn't pick up. Eventually, it goes to a generic voicemail message delivered to an automated voice. Damn it! I slam the phone back to it to reset it and dial again. Please, 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 please. If she's not there, if she's not with Morgan, then I don't know what I'll do. I don't know where else she could be. On the third ring, the phone clicks as someone answers. Hello? It's garbled and hard to hear her, likely because of the storm. Morgan? The person on the other line says something unintelligible. Hello? Maddie? It's just barely clear enough for me to hear my name. Yeah, hey, yeah, it's me. Hey, listen, is Tara with you? There's another pause and some staticky noise. There's a beep and the line goes dead. Frantically, I hit the redial button. This time she picks up on the first ring. Hey, it's me. Is Tara with you? There's a noise, but I can't tell if it's her answering me or just interference. Sorry, what? Again, the only response is garbled nonsense. I try to talk to her several more times, but nothing is intelligible. I don't even know if she can hear me. The call drops again, and this time I don't bother calling back. I could try to send her an email, but it'll take forever with the web page loads enough for me to do that. I try to make myself calm down. Logically, she's got to be with Morgan. There's nowhere else she'd go. Evelyn must have missed her somehow. I go to one of the windows, using my sleeve to brush away the fog that veils the glass. It's already a blizzard out there, snowing harder than anything I've ever witnessed. That's when I see her. A flash of red hair over by the tree line. Tara. She's just standing there? When she notices me, she waves. What the hell is wrong with her? I pound on the glass, pointing downwards to indicate that she should come in. Come inside, you moron! What are you doing? I know she can't hear me, but she keeps waving. Then she turns and walks into the forest. What the hell? She's lost it. She's absolutely lost it. I fight against the wind just to open the door. Tara! My voice is swallowed up by the wind. There's no way she could have heard me. I try yelling again, but the cold stings my throat. Is this some idea of a joke to her? It's a terrible one if so. Stepping out of the front door, I can barely see her amongst the trees and swirling snow. She's just standing there waiting for me. I linger, not sure what to do. I can't just leave her there, but going out in this would be asinine. She moves again more urgently, waves again more urgently. She clearly wants me to follow her. Maybe she needs my help, maybe someone's been injured. Still, the storm. Every second I'm out here, the cold seeps a little bit further into me. I need to decide. I clench my fists. If nothing else, I know that Tara would come for me. Bracing myself, I start walking towards her. It's nearly impossible. Just keeping my balance and remaining upright is a chore. Every step I take feels like it's a battle against nature. Slowly, though, I do it. Once she sees that I'm following her, she starts walking again. I'd wish she'd wait for me to catch up so she could at least tell me what's going on. When I cross the tree line, the wind gets noticeably better, although the cold is no less bitter. It's true. Get into the cover of the trees. Tara doesn't seem phased. She's still foraging ahead, always in the distance no matter how fast I go. Close enough to see, but not close enough to hear. Alright, I'm almost positive I remember what's coming right here, kids. It's very cool. But, and we're just about at our time, so I'm gonna press forward here and see if we can get to a good checkpoint. Maybe right after what's gonna go down here goes down. Maybe right after then, let's see if we can find out. After a few more minutes, I finally start to inch closer to her. I can't feel my hands or my feet, and my teeth won't stop chattering. I need to stop her now. Tara. My mouth is shaking too much for me to form any sort of coherent phrases. Speaking of coherent phrases, or my lack of them. If I wasn't already genuinely scared, I am now. Then, without warning, Tara stops. She stands completely still, back towards me. I do my best to push forward, finally making my way to her. Tara, we have to... I give up on words, instead reaching out towards her. My fingers are numb and heavy. Before I can touch her shoulder, though, she turns around, and my blood runs as icy as my skin. Her face is completely smooth and featureless, like a mannequin. Her clothes, her hair, everything else are a complete replica, but her face is an empty void. This isn't Tara. This isn't even human. The sharp taste of bile rises in my throat as I stumble back, repulsed. As I stare in horror, she begins to flicker like a light bulb going out. No, 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 no. This isn't real. This can't be real. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. Still flickering, the thing begins to move. Its shoulders start to shake as it rocks back and forth, tilting its head back slightly. It doesn't make a sound, but its intention is clear. It's laughing at me. I fall backwards, hands scrambling through the snow that I can no longer feel. I scuttle away from it as best as I can, though it doesn't try to follow me. It doesn't even try to follow me. It just rocks, celebrating its triumph over me. Run, Maddie, run! My shoulder smashes into something hard, sending a stinging pain through me. It's a tree. I try to stand up, but I've lost all sensation in my legs. My fingers scramble desperately, uselessly, at the hard earth and slick bark, but I can't find any purchase. Be quiet, phone! Be quiet, I'm trying to... This is an important moment. I try to stand, and my feet slide from beneath me as I crash back to the ground. Each effort is harder than the last. I try several more times to stand, but I can't. Exhausted, I lie there, cheek pressed against the frigid ground. I can't even feel it. My face burns as it's buffeted with more and more snow, and my thoughts run ragged. I know how hypothermia works, how fast it can set in, surprisingly quickly, I'd once read. My body temperature only needs to drop a couple of degrees to start shutting down. It doesn't matter, I can't muster the effort to move. The fake Tara's gone now, the space it occupied is empty, I'm alone. The realization crosses my mind, surprisingly lucid. I'm gonna die. This is the end. There is no after this. I've reached the end of my life. Snow accumulates on my body. What parts I can feel burn. I'm grateful for those that I can't. My breath is barely even a wisp of vapor. I try to tell myself that I'm wrong. Someone will find me. I can't die out here. I'm not some mountain adventurer. I'm not the kind of person this happens to. I can't freeze to death. I can't. But I'm going to. What about Tara and BT and my family? I can't just leave them all behind because I ran too far into the woods. That's just not how this works. I try to push myself back up, but I can't move my arms. I can't feel anything. I'm sure that if my body allowed me, I'd be crying. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. My consciousness fades. Oh! A piercing light. That should be unpleasant. That should be unpleasant, but isn't. Shines in front of me. I will my body to reach for it, but I can't. Then I understand it. It isn't meant for my hands to touch. I let go of it all, giving myself up. But then, a sound. Imperceptibly loud, deafeningly quiet. Something vibrant and full of life fills my tired eyes. It blocks the light. And then... Oh! It's Abigail! Do you feel the atmosphere? You feel this, the music kicking in? The feels, it's happening. An angel appears. Guys, I can't even right now. I can't even right now. The music, the images. Chapter 3. Heck yeah. That was worth pressing through for. That was great. Beautiful. That is where we will stop right there. So, wow. Yeah. So that was quite the finale to that one, huh? So we made it to chapter 3. So what we have to remember here is when we come is yes, in chapter 3 there is a choice at some point where we'll have to make. I do have the link open on my phone's Chrome, and so whenever I need to, I can just pop my phone open and look real quick and remind myself what choices we need. It's not hard. It's just like I think that there's 3 choices across the whole game that you have to make to get the good ending. There is 2 bad endings, but this is not one of those games where I feel the need to see the bad endings, because the first time through I got one of them by accident, just playing through blindly, and it was awful. It was very, very sad, very depressing. And so, but then after that, I went back and played through, and I went back and made different, and looked it up, made sure there was more than one ending, found out there was, played through again on fast forward to get the ending I wanted, and then I got the good ending, and that was awesome. That was fantastic. So because of that, I know what to do. So there's only I think it's 3 or 4 dialogue choices. It's no big deal, and so it's not hard to see or come to at all. So that is pretty sweet. So that is gonna be where we call this one. Tomorrow is Thursday, and that will be part 3 of this game. And things are really getting good. It was at the very tail end of last episode that there is hope, but there's not hope, but what's the word? There's a light that oh, things are starting to get spicy or whatever. And then in this episode is really where things really start kicking off, as you no doubt can tell, because this episode was a roller coaster. So yeah, but the first one was important because you got to set it up, you know what I mean? But in this one was where things really start getting great, and then in the next episodes will be fantastic, and things are going to get real in the next one. So I hope you guys are excited. I am enjoying this immensely, and I cannot wait for tomorrow so that we can record part 3. Anyway, that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.